Oh, all right. We'll get this thing started. See if anybody will call in. You guys can call in now because I'm here. Ain't going nowhere. Numbers on the screen. If you want to talk to Dad with a phone, I'm here to answer your phone calls. And you can talk. Well, we could talk about anything, but maybe you could give your thoughts on Kelsey. Maybe give your thoughts on the trial or what happened to Patrick. Maybe you'll give your thoughts on Crystal Lee. Phone lines are open. If you're calling from out of the country, standard rates apply. Today you might have joined us down in... What's up, Casey? I got you guys on the big screen, so there might be a little lag on me responding to your chats. But I'm watching the chats on the big screen, and I'm also inside here making sure we are working. So looks like we got the closed captioning on, so you might be getting the number dropped over if you don't turn off your closed captioning. Thanks for joining us tonight for a little sit down chat. I had a couple people ask to call in, so I'm sure they'll call in here briefly. I don't know. We'll keep the phone calls to whatever link they seem interesting. If you got something you want to say that you've been wanting to get off your mind, then you can call in. Or you can just chat for all I care. But if nobody calls in, I'll cancel this call-in show quick. No, I'm just teasing. We can talk about anything. It's been a long couple of weeks. I don't know if Jay's going to join today. She may be doing some other stuff. I think me and Jay are going to try to do another show either Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Somewhere right in there. This was video I took earlier in the year, just a few days after the bench was put into place. If you missed it today, we were up there and we did just a little quick prayer there at the bench. There's some other flowers that people have added on top of the bench. The flowers that you see that are planted are in dormant right now. So Miss Justice says she wants to know more about Omar's death, or Omar and the death of his father. That's been pretty. That's been a big mystery, just about for everyone. I heard recently that somebody supposedly found a death certificate out of Kansas. I've talked with the family, and the family has said that they, like, the cousin has said that she didn't even know what had happened. So Casey says she's gonna go share this. She'll be right back. It is... You're live right now with Dad with a phone, and we're taking phone calls. So you can be our first phone call, or you can be our last phone call. But if you want to say something out loud, you want to get your voice heard, maybe you want to say something for Kelsey, maybe you want to let your thoughts... Still no sound? What do you mean you don't have no sound? You better have sound. Can y'all hear me all right? Look at somebody saying there's no sound. Quit playing that game. You know we got sound. I be sounding real good. What you talking about? I'm gonna check just in case. I know I be sounding good. Oh yeah, I'm killing it. I got sound here. I got sound on the TV. I'm watching on the Roku right now. You can't. I'll be sounding real good. Can't be telling me I ain't got no sound. I'm clear as day. Old Clunny just need me to acknowledge him, so Clunny didn't turn on his sound. We ain't got no sound because ain't nobody called in. Everybody's scared and shady. Maybe my number's wrong. Maybe I didn't pay my phone bill. Probably got my silent turned on. Oh, we got a call from Kentucky coming in right now. You're live with Dad with a Phone.
Hello, Dad with the Phone. This is Robin. This is Robin from Kentucky.
Robin, how are you doing from Kentucky?
Well, I'm doing just fine. Listen, I'm 65 and retired, and just want you to know I really appreciate your spirit and what you take. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, I can hear you fine. You might have to turn your radio down in the background because you'll probably start coming through.
Okay. Let me turn it all the way down here. I've got it going through my headphones.
Oh.
Hang on just a minute. I'm not the smartest person with all this technique. Hang on. Yeah. Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you great, Robin.
Okay. I just feel close to that area. I get to visit sometimes. I visit my son who's in the Air Force and my two grandchildren. And I've just really enjoyed your show. I enjoy it when you go out riding around and I get to see. I feel like I get a little part of my kid's life, you know. But I really called for one specific purpose. I've been following this, and I really didn't think that they would do to him what they did. But I'm so glad they did.
Yeah, I was I was surprised too, only because. But then when you sit there and listen to the evidence and it matches up with a lot of what Crystal Lee had said. I'm not saying everything she said is true, but it matched up. It matched up enough for them to be able to get him convicted, and I think they got the right guy. I think there's some, I think Crystal still needs some punishment, and different things. But it was real fulfilling to be there and to watch the verdict come down and them hand out that sentencing. So no, I'm right there with you, Robin.
Felt like I was there too, and the prayer while we were waiting on the verdict. That prayer was the most sincere. It kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I mean, it was so sincere, and I believe that had as much to do with the verdict as anything. So I just want you to know your heart's in the right place, and when people badmouth you, it's because they're jealous of you.
Oh, well, thank you, Robin. Thank you for the kind words.
You're doing a fine job. Love to see your family, and I like to see what you're doing with your life. So keep on the good work and don't let anybody bring your spirits down, okay?
All right. Thank you, Robin. Thank you tonight for the phone call.
You bet. Have a good evening. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, we can end the show there, folks. Great show tonight. Perfect call-in show. We should end at such a great timing. Thank you, Robin, for calling in. We're just getting started. So, Robin broke the ice there. Got the tears flowing. I even got a sage after that phone call. I feel so sweet. I feel like I said, if nobody else calls in today, this was a successful show. Oh, we got our second caller coming in from Wilmington, Delaware. You're live with Dad with a Phone.
Dad with a Phone, are you done?
I'm not done. I'm just getting started. I was kidding. That was such a good first phone call. I almost wanted to end on a good note.
D-Wop, you have to end on this note. If it wasn't for you and the publicity you put out there through the whole entire United States, it wouldn't have gone down the way it did. It's because of you.
Well, I ain't trying to take credit for that, but
See
I
what?
kind of take credit for Patrick's line when he says, if I knew it was going to be national news, I wouldn't have. And I was like, yeah, you just didn't know DWAP was around, huh?
Exactly. Exactly. You did a
No.
wonderful job. Wonderful
Oh,
job. Even
but
though you was allowed in the courtroom, I had to watch you go fishing, but
hey, I still was around enough and had enough info. So what's been going on with you? Is this Yolanda? That's
yes.
what I thought. I didn't have your number in, but all of a sudden I recognized the voice. So, what are your thoughts with the verdict and how everything went down?
100% guilty. 100%. And let me tell you something. There's something fishy about this house. I'm a nurse, and I'm going to tell you that woman had help. I don't know. She did not clean that house. I'm telling you, something's fishy about that house. How could she have the stomach to do that and then go eat a hot dog?
Oh man, that's the worst part. And you know what the best? I mean, it's not the best part is we're not done with her yet, and they still got to put her in jail. They
Oh,
need.
she ain't. You think she's going to see a day in jail?
You know what? I would have told you no until Dan May dropped that devil line. Did you see that?
No.
So
I,
Dan May, the prosecutor, when he did his press conference, he said, "We made a deal with the devil, and we're not happy about it. And the Crystal Lee deserves every day the judge will give her in jail." He said that out loud. This is the DA, but he had to keep his mouth shut for a long time because he needed her to testify. And so the second that verdict came in, he said, "We made a deal with the devil." And so I have more hope
he
than
didn't want
most.
you to get. He didn't want you to get any leak. He didn't want it leak to you because he knew you put it out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he would have told me she was a devil before, I would have leaked that too. But he said it out loud in front of everybody. So I'm happy that that it got going, that it went the way it did, and now I'm interested to see. I want to see the judge, and I think Judge Sales is gonna give her the maximum amount he can give her, whether that be 18 months or if he can find a legal right to add the aggravated, which shouldn't be that hard. He could add that aggravated, and that could give her up to 3 years in prison. Does she deserve more? Absolutely, but
Absolutely.
but
She's a nurse. She knows better.
yeah. Well, so what else? So you're happy with the outcome, and
Yep.
we,
I watched Jay move. Jay for Justice. We went on
yep.
a road trip. I'm sorry that she left Michigan, but or Michigan, wait, Detroit. But she's in a happier place. So we'll follow her from Florida.
Well, that's the best part about the internet is that um, she's in Florida. She moved to Florida. It's yeah. So it's the best part about the internet. It's not like she has to be gone that far. Right now, this is Yolanda talking to us. She is a nurse. She's one of the crazy nurses. No, she's not a crazy nurse. She's one of the best nurses, the good nurses.
Oh, listen, D-Wop, I won. I won top nurse in my state and top nurse internationally.
Well, there you go.
Today's nurse.
There you go. Today's nurse, right
Yep.
here.
So tell Nicole I said hello and thank you for everything you do. I watch everything you do on Facebook and on YouTube.
You're awesome. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for the call tonight.
Tell your wife I said hello.
I will.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Woo-wee. Yolanda on the line tonight. Pick up that phone. Dial the number 719-377-0343. You too can talk to Dad with the phone. If it goes like this, we may just be on top of things tonight. Sometimes you never know how you do when you open the phone lines up. So, tonight we've talked to Robin and Yolanda. If you're just joining us, don't worry. You didn't miss anything crazy. Most of it was real nice talk. Everybody's been super nice. You didn't miss anything. People are just, giving their thoughts on how the trial came out. Whatever. So if you want to call in and talk to Dad with the phone, you can give us a call. We are. Oh, here we go from Columbus, Ohio, calling in. You're live with Dad with a phone.
Hi, Dad with the phone.
Who are we talking to tonight?
This is Joyanna.
Joanna, and where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from around Ohio.
Nice.
Ohio.
So, what are your thoughts? Well, I'd like to find out. You're a first-time caller, right?
Yes, I'm a first-time caller with you. I called in with Jay a long time ago because I've been following you and Jay ever since you've had, your channel. And I think you started your channel in January or February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So what are your thoughts tonight?
Well, I am so glad they found Patrick guilty. He was the top lead man of all this. He's the one that killed her, that I believe. And when it comes to, and while we're on him, I wanted to ask you, because I wasn't sure about this, did Omar Frazie's husband, did he have a will that left his estate to the baby?
There is some discrepancy. You know, those things are that probate court's pretty sealed tight. What we do know is that he did leave a substantial estate, somewhere in the number of $400,000 to that the brother and sister were kind of fighting with Patrick over. We don't know specifically how much of that estate was maybe willed to Kaylee, but there has been strong rumor, and a lot of people have said that, that she definitely is the beneficiary of some of the grandfather's estate, and a lot of people thought that could have been motive. Money can be motive for anybody, and so it definitely could have been motive. So, yeah, that's kind of my understanding of that. Now he won't see any of it, though. So.
Right. And I do believe that Kelsey's mom and dad will get custody of the child.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's real uncommon, unless they were able to. There's no reason why they should ever take custody out of the Barris family at all and put it anywhere. I've said that out loud. I've said it in the videos. If, Erin Frazee needs to curl up into her little hall and do whatever. Omar doesn't even need to think about Kaylee. The custody battle should end pretty quickly, and it should be pretty quickly over with when it all all that kind of hashes through the court. But I don't think anyone's worried about Kaylee having to be pulled out of where she's at now. So.
And when it comes to KK, Crystal, first of all, I'm a nurse, 37 years.
We got another nurse in the house, folks.
And this is the most disgraceful thing to the nursing profession. I mean, it's not going to affect the nursing profession in any way, but because most people that go into nursing, it's not to marry doctors, believe me. It's because they care about people. And
Absolutely.
And lots of times something's happened in their life that, that allowed them to care for someone else. Or me, it was I got hit by a car when I was 19, and those were angels of mercy because I was a bad patient. It broke my femur, and I was in a lot of pain. But
cool.
I know a lot of people have said, well, I don't know how she could go eat after she cleaned up. Well, a lot of, most nurses can do that. They just, it's because they're around that grueling stuff all the time. But in this case, we're talking about her cleaning up blood and guts, and knowing, unless she put herself in a meditated state, I do not know how she was able to do that. And I don't even know why she agreed to doing that. I mean, I know she had in her mind that, that him and her was going to be boyfriend and girlfriend in the future, probably. But for her to, most people that go to college and has worked really hard for their education and their job, and even people that haven't gone to college, they've worked really hard in their trade or the particular job they're in. They are not willing to give that up for something like this.
No, yeah, it's a crazy thing, and a lot of people think that this isn't the first time Crystal and Patrick have done something like this. Like, this may be the first time they got caught, but a lot of people think they may have been involved in some other things. And so,
well, there's Patrick for sure.
Well, yeah, but when you start thinking about Crystal, even from, they've known each other 10 years. And so, and there's been a lot that's happened in the last 10 years, even in around here, which gets crazy. So,
yeah, but for her to, I mean, she even disposed of things at the hospital. In sharp containers.
That's crazy. That's like, I mean, that's real
crazy.
Gutsy.
It is crazy. And, you can't see through those anymore because there's been many, many episodes where drug addicts will come and try and get into them and take out maybe some medication that's left over in a vial or something like that. But so you can't see through them anymore. But that is just insane. And I've always been suspicious of the gun, her friend's gun that was in the car. I mean, you just don't loan someone your car knowing that they're leaving with your gun. People just don't forget about things like that.
No, yeah, definitely. And I have a feeling that even though this case was presented in the manner it was, and they presented it in the way they did, I don't feel like we've gotten the full truth of what really happened. I know they had to do it in that way, and they had to stick to her story because that was what they had.
Right.
But there are some questions that I have about how this thing actually went down and when it went down and where it went down. But at this point, and there are going to be speculations. People are going to speculate for years to come because we never heard directly from Patrick. And maybe one day he'll open up.
Well, he's definitely not going to do it till all of his appeals are over with. But,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for the phone call tonight.
Yes, and the most important reason why I wanted to call was to just thank you for all the work that you did to keep this case alive, to keep us all informed. And I feel like I know Kelsey.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have love in my heart for her, and I know I feel she's going to be your angel.
Well, I definitely will take her as an angel for sure. That's exactly, I think she was an angel here on this earth and definitely in the age to come. And well, thank you for your kind words tonight and your thoughts, and thanks for watching.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Y'all, I'm gonna start crying. Y'all make me start crying. All these people. Anyway, man, good phone calls tonight. People giving their thoughts, their love. A couple people called in while I was on there. So if you're trying to get in, you better get on that phone call right now and dial up. Dadwithaphone is free right here in Colorado. We're taking live calls tonight. People were telling me to call them back. I ain't calling nobody back, so y'all gonna have to dial in. This is like the old school radio show days. We got a call coming in from Florida. Watch out, Florida's in the house.
A couple of people called in.
Hello?
Hello, you're gonna have to turn down your radio.
Hold on.
I'm holding. We're holding. Yeah, there you go.
Hold on, don't hang up.
No, I'm not hanging up.
Well, hello there, Big Daddy.
Well,
How's everything going?
Well, great. Who am I talking to?
You're talking to old Joy Bell from right here in Genuine, downtown, Panama City, Florida.
Oh, this is beautiful. I'm excited. You've got me all excited with just the intro there.
Just the Big Daddy got you excited? I mean, am I on the thing now?
Oh,
Can everybody hear me?
You're absolutely live on the interweb with Dadwithaphone.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you.
Listen, do not let this southern accent fool you, all right? I'm retired after 16 and a half years with the Florida Department of Corrections. And all male facilities. And I promise you, this morning when Patrick got that brand new DCC number,
yeah,
there was some babies watching him. He's going to be somebody's baby.
So if Patrick maybe on some crazy world, he gets a hold of this and hears this call, what can Patrick expect? You know?
Patrick can. I just wished I'd be on Fly on the Wall because this one is green right off the street. I'm talking about don't have no marks against it. And he's fixing to walk in that door to a secure facility.
Yeah.
He's got a brand. Makes me want to get Pentecostal on y'all. He's got a brand new world opening up for him.
Have you ever heard of any of your years of working there in corrections? Do you think he might ever get his cell door left open or anything?
Oh, honey, let me tell you what. I'm going to explain something to you. You know how sometimes I don't know about your mama, but mine always told me sometimes you just have to stand still and quiet and just watch it come.
Is that Patrick's going to have to stand still and quiet?
Yeah. He won't never want to look at a bar of soap again. No. They be calling him Patsy. Come here, Patsy. Oh, God. And another thing, inmates ain't gonna like him walking in the doors with his charges.
No, they're not. They don't like it. They don't like it when you beat on the innocent.
No. And that baby that's involved will make them inmates go crazy. He'll never live 2 years.
Did you happen to catch his DOC number?
No, I didn't.
So his DOC number, this is fitting. It's 187024. So in turn, it's 187-24, which is 187 is the code for murder. Pretty. So I don't know if that's a subtle telling of a prophetic for him. But that's his DOC number. It literally is 187024, and so.
See, in that county jail that he's been in.
Oh, that's a Holiday Inn. That's a Holiday Inn.
That is a Holiday Inn. Tonight he's probably spending the night in the receiving center of the state.
Well, I don't think he's still in county, and it says on his DOC ticket that he is still in county because of backlog and overcrowding. So he'll be in county jail for a couple more. I'm actually thinking he'll be here for up to a year, and then he'll be transferred. Now it could be definitely shortened if Teller County says, hey, listen, you guys, y'all need to come get this son of a gun. He's too much of a headache just because of the media and the press, and then they may ship him off quicker. But for standard practices, he still has a couple of weeks left but they did give him that number quickly, so, they might have done that on purpose so that they're like...
I got to tell you this. I am so proud of you. I mean, all I could say through all of this, my husband passed away in January, and then this happened, so I started following, everything. I started watching it, paying attention to it before he passed away. But anyway, I am so proud. My hat is off to you, and I celebrate that you made it through the whole trial without going to jail.
Well, yeah, I didn't go to jail during the trial. They tried to get me a couple of times, though. I ain't gonna lie, they tried to, and it's all right though. Well,
listen.
Go ahead.
We're in the we're where the hurricane came through last year.
Yeah.
And everything is total destruction around here. But I don't know why I was telling you all that. But listen, take care of yourself. Oh, and Crystal, this is a very weak woman, and you can tell she's a very weak woman, even though her structure, doesn't appear that she would be weak. But we're up against a narcissistic sociopath here.
Yeah, what do you think should happen to her? Well, let me ask you this. Since, again, you were in an all-male facility. Did you ever work in any women's facilities?
I started out with juvenile delinquents.
Okay.
And hey, listen, women and juveniles, you don't want to work with, they'll kill you, and not even think about it.
So do you think Crystal makes it if they give her 3 years? Does she make it through the 3 years?
I don't know. Hers is going to be more of a, but, well, you don't never know. I tell you what, you get in there with some of them bruisers she's walking up in there with.
Yeah, and they find out what she's there for.
All the laws protects the inmates. I mean, somebody can kill you and don't nobody know nothing,
Right.
And I can't believe, I'm just so excited that it all came down like this. But is there anything they can get Mama on?
Man, I tell you what I tell everybody. Mama's she's a walking pile of bitterness. Bitterness is gonna get her long before any sentence would get her. Hate in her heart. She's been eat up with bitterness and hate and I think it's all gonna pile down on her and that's gonna be. I mean, she's 75 years old. If they put her in jail, she'd be dead before she got sentenced. She wouldn't make it through a trial, but I don't think they're going to get her. I don't think they're going to even try to go after her. I think they got Patrick, and I think with the DA now calling Crystal Lee the devil, and the DA called her the devil, he said we had to make a deal with the devil. I think they're gonna get her much as they can.
I'm just wondering if they're just taking their time, making dotting every I and crossing every T with everything they can get her on.
Well, I don't think
people are upset over
that. No, they can't get. Well, they're not going to get Crystal on anything more except unless they just add the aggravated charge. And they can get her for up to 3 years. But with old Ma, I just don't see. I don't see her getting anything. I don't see him trying to go after him. I think they feel like they got their big fish and they got they're going to get some scraps and with whatever they can get on KK and then Ma's going to have to live in her misery, She's been for all intensive purposes, she's been taking care of Patrick and Patrick's been taking care of her. And so that she's going to be all alone and that's gonna be the bed she made. So
How about Kelsey's family? Have they got permanent custody of the baby now?
At this
I
point,
thought
they have physical custody. The state of Colorado still retains legal custody, but now that it was made very clear that was only gonna be until Patrick's trial was finished. And now that his trial's finished, I'm pretty sure that within the next few months, the state of Colorado will relinquish legal custody to the family, to the Barrett family, and obviously they still have physical custody. There's some hearings that are scheduled. Many people think Patrick will only appear by video. He will not be allowed to go. Well, I dropped a phone call, but are you still there? Yeah, you're gone. Well, anyway, great phone call tonight. Great, but people think the custody will go on into go forth into wherever. I lost my thought because I dropped my phone call there. So, anyway, if you want to call in, you can call in. We cut off one caller. I did not hang up on you. I'm sorry. I don't know if my phone call dropped or what, but. Thank you so much for the phone call. I know you just got my text if you're just now coming on. But I just texted her and said thanks for the call. We got a call from Fort Collins, Colorado. We got a local Colorado. You're live with Dad with a Phone.
Dad with a Phone.
How's it going?
How are you?
Who am I talking to?
This is Jen from Eaton.
Jen from Eden. Uh-oh. You've
Yep.
been telling me you were going to call in.
Yep. I just have a quick question. Do you think either Patrick or Crystal might use the location of the remains as a wild card one day?
I think I thought about that, but I think Patrick disposed of Kelsey in a manner that it would almost be impossible for him to be able to go get them, or I don't think he just buried what was left. I actually think he threw Kelsey's remains into the river, which it's simply impossible because it's an ever-flowing river. It's a flowing river, so I don't think there would ever be a possibility of recovering anything that they would be able to prove was Kelsey's. I actually have some thoughts that aren't going to be popular thoughts, but I actually don't think the tooth that was found in the fire pit was actually Kelsey's. But that's not. It's not. I don't want to get into that conversation right now. But I have a whole theory on that. But I think that they did away with her remains in a way that they will never be found. And so, although he may be able to use it as a bargaining chip, I don't see how, unless he could produce something.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, you all have a good night, and I will continue to watch.
Well, thanks for the call in tonight. We'll talk to you later.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Great little show tonight. Got a couple couple people. I've missed your call, or I was on the line. If I dropped your call, I'm sorry. No problem. Thanks for calling in. If you want to call in, phone lines are still open. We've been going just for a little over a half hour. We were just kind of an open. If you got questions, if you want to say anything, if you want to give any words or thoughts or responses to how things came out. A lot of people are interested in what may happen to Omar. We got Bristol, Tennessee calling in. You're live with Dad with a Phone. Who are we talking to?
This is Misty.
Misty, how's it going?
I have a couple things.
Okay.
Was him and Kelsey, she was owned part of his cattle, right?
She owned part of his cattle. Is that what the question is?
Yes.
That is what I have heard. That yes, she did have some money invested with him in cattle.
Which would now be part of her estate to go to the baby, correct?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, her exact ownership and or how that ownership worked. I do know that the cows that they had, as far as when Kelsey went missing, and then we now know that she was killed. Those cows went to sell pretty quickly afterwards, and I'm not 100% sure on where that money went. Patrick did have some debt that he was having to pay off, and so I know that people were trying to get some money out of him. So when he sold those cows, that money may have gone there. I'm not 100% sure on how the ownership of that will play out.
Okay, the other one is, and I don't want to throw her family's information out there or anything like that, but it has weighed on my mind so heavy that he went and took the Christmas ornament from Kelsey's brother. Would there be a way to send a Christmas ornament to the baby, but without is through an attorney or something like that?
Like for someone to send a Christmas ornament to Kaylee?
Yes.
I don't. I actually I haven't been in contact with anyone from the family. I've only been in contact with friends of the family, and so I do know that there is a way to donate money through Wells Fargo still to Kaylee directly. Like if you call any Wells Fargo, they have an account set up for her. I do not know, and I wouldn't even begin to even suggest trying to get something to the family. There are probably ways you can find out how to get something to her, but I don't know those things, and I wouldn't. This family is very, very private in nature, in a sense. They're just a private family. You can tell even by how they've responded to all of this and how they've dealt with all of this. You can tell that they're a private family by nature. And so she doesn't have any family here, even in Woodland Park. So it's not like I could go down the street and get something to her aunt or anything, because she didn't have family here in Woodland Park. And so yeah, I do know that they will be having a prayer vigil this Friday here in Woodland Park, and I will find out at that prayer vigil. I'm sure there will be people there, or there'll be representatives from the family, that I'll find out at that time if there's any way, if people want to donate or send gifts, if there's a proper place to do that. And so guys, stay tuned, later this week, and if there is, or if something like that is set up, I'll definitely let people know online.
Okay, that would be great.
Cool. Well, thanks for your phone call.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm not gonna ever suggest that anyone contact the family, and unless you are contacted directly from them, then that's all I can say. So, call-in show tonight with Dad. Had a couple of different calls, and Buffalo, New York's calling in. It's Buffalo, New York in the house. You're live with Dad with the phone.
Hey, Michael, how are you? My name's Michelle. I'm calling from Buffalo, New York, Orchard Park. I just want to tell you, I thought you did a great job. I've been following it from the beginning. I'm glad the SOB got what he got.
Tell us what you really think.
Yeah, I really could, but I hate the guy. I hate Watts, and it's just, I feel so bad for their families, and they're in my prayers every day. And I just want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving and to be safe. and for taking my call and being who you are.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for the call today.
I love you, Mike, and thanks for all the videos, and I've got them all saved, and you take care, and God bless, all right?
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks again for calling.
Okay, Michael, take care.
Bye-bye. Oh, that's such a nice caller. Great calls tonight, folks. Very, very awesome. Very encouraging, folks. We had some entertainment too. Our call dropped, but our Florida call dropped. But boy, that girl, I had my wife over in the kitchen laughing, just freaking dying laughing. The correctional officer today. So. Somebody texted in their question. Do you think this case would have ever gone to trial without KK's testimony? If so, why? That's a hard one because it's hard to combat Dan May when Dan May says they would have never been able to take this case to trial without KK. I mean, they gave a lot of evidence that backed up what KK's story was, but it wasn't like they had that evidence all figured out to where they could tell that story without KK's story. So I definitely agree that KK's story had strong bearing in the evidence that came forward. It put the pieces of what they called the evidence. It put the pieces of that evidence together. Let me put it this way. On December 14th, they ran a search warrant on the Patrick Frazee Ranch. They were there from the 14th through like the 16th or the 17th. And they found zero, zilch, nothing. They didn't make an arrest. It wasn't until they contacted KK, brought her down. She tells the story, and then they take her out there, and she points out all the fire, and she points out how things went down, and then they corroborate her story with other people's stuff. So I think KK's testimony was very, very vital to convicting Patrick. Again, I can't disagree with Dan May, and Dan May has said that himself. And so I have to agree with that. Do I think that they gave her the deal too early? Yes. I think they should have waited to hear her testimony before they gave her deal. So, we got a phone call coming in from Birmingham, Alabama. I wonder who this is.
This is Bonnie Walker down in Alabama.
Bonnie in Alabama. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
Good. I'm having a good night. It's been a good night already, and now we got Bonnie on from Alabama.
Yeah, I'm doing good too. Michael, I am concerned about the death certificate of not only Kelsey, but also the father of Patrick Frazee. I don't see how insurance pays out without death certificates. I'm concerned about the body never being found, and how does that legally present, even though there is a trial and there is a conviction, how does it legally present with the government, with the IRS, with all of that? Because when my husband died, I had to get multiple copies of death certificates. Anything I wanted to change had to have a notarized death certificate attached.
That's an interesting question. And I have to agree that there's going to be some concern with the family when it comes to Kelsey's death certificate. We've talked about this briefly, but up until even as late as early 2019, they were saying that we hadn't even had any murders or homicides in Teller County because they hadn't officially ruled Kelsey's a death. Like they didn't have a death certificate, so they can't really call it a homicide because they don't have a cause of death. And so I've already wondered what they're going to do with that. Now, you have to understand that this county is a very bass-backwards county. I mean, all our death certificates are literally kept in a storage unit here, with the coroner's office. And so it's not like we have some computer database of death certificates. And so it's kind of a real backwards county when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so... No, I'm concerned too. I'm not quite sure how that.
Second part of that, I get what you're saying. You don't know. Second part of that is Mr. Frazee, which I guess was the name of Patrick's father.
Robert Frazee.
Then how can they be arguing over inheritance when he's no proven death and we don't know where he is, where he died?
Well, and again, a lot of the speculation around no death certificate for him is just what we can't find online. And so that I don't know that there isn't a death certificate that the courts don't have, because there is definitely probate hearings that have happened and probate hearings that have happened around his estate. And so even though the speculation and the rumors of how and where and even if he is dead, he's dead because they are having probate hearings and there is money being fought over, and that has been brought out in court. And so I just don't know. We don't have any explanation on his death, and I don't know if we're due explanation on his death. I would feel like...
No, we're not. It's just a question that through the trial kept
Yeah.
bugging me,
Yeah.
physically, mentally, because if a person's dead, they're dead. And you usually have proof of death. You have a coroner,
absolutely.
You have an autopsy or whatever. But, if there's not a physical callity and no obituary, and any lawyer out there may want to talk about that, because I'm just a mama, a grandmama, and a widow. And I have enjoyed your programs. I've watched most of them. I've tried to back up and watch ones I had to miss. And I will continue to do so. You've done a bang-up good job. You have covered every detail that came to your mind and from others that you've talked to. And I appreciate that in you. I think you've got a great future, Michael.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words. And
happy Thanksgiving, even though it's a little bit dull this year for all of us that have gotten involved with this. It's a horrific thing. But you know what? There are still... Thank you for heaven. Thank you, God, that she's in a better place. Thank you that her child will someday know the kind of person through her mother, Kaylee's mother, not Kaylee,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're
Kelsey's mother. That will tell her about her daughter, her childhood, her growing up, and etc. And she will know her mother through her grandmother, and that's a beautiful thing too. So
yeah,
I thank God for that. Anyway, that's some things to give thanks for. And
well,
you have a good evening.
Thank you so much for calling. Thank you for the kind words. We'll talk to you later.
Sure. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And you've now become a part of Dad with a Phone shows. Calling in. What a great call-in show tonight. What are you going to do? I mean, those are some really good questions when it comes to the death certificates. What happened to the father? A lot of us are looking for explanation, and some of us just won't get it because it's not out there on the internet. But there is probably explanation for most of these questions. Well, we've been getting all kinds of good calls. We got one coming in from Bonifay. Oh, this might be earlier caller. Hello, it's Michael. Dad with the phone.
Big Daddy, it's me again.
Oh, you got me back because you got cut off.
On you so much. Don't get the big head, okay?
Don't get the big head. I ain't gonna get the big head.
Oh, okay. Listen, what about? Wait a minute, shit.
Yeah, you gotta turn that radio off. Oh, wait, you just dropped the cuss word now
this
too.
This is what happens when you're an old lady and you don't have nothing to do but hang on the internet and investigate. Lie. Damn, shut up.
Hey, we are so glad you are here with us, though.
Hey, but listen up, listen up. What's really gonna really upset Ma is when Kelsey's family gets power of attorney and legal guardianship, which they would have to hold it in a trust and be the executors, yeah, of the trust. I mean, can you imagine? Because if Granddaddy left the baby property and all, it would go into a trust.
Yeah, and a lot of people look at that and think that was the motive, and so no, I think there's reports that when they read the verdict, and I can't call this as an eyewitness because I wasn't looking at her, but when they read the verdict, she ripped out her hearing aids, and that's something that I've seen her do in the past, and so I can't imagine she's happy about that at all. So.
No. I mean, she's a lonely old woman now, and no matter what, Lord have mercy. I wished I'd have busted mine's butts a little bit more. I always told them, I brought you here, baby. I'll take you out of here.
Absolutely. Hey, well, let's get a proper goodbye. You have a good evening. Thank you for calling me back.
All right, babe. Take care.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh, Orlando, Florida's in the house. That was quick. They were quick. Quick on the button there. You're live with Dad with a phone.
Hi, Michael. I spoke to you before a few months back. This is Gina from Orlando, Florida. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was just curious. I haven't had the chance to watch you as closely as I did in the beginning, but I knew that the trial was coming, and I, of course, getting closer to the day, wanted to follow up closely at the results of all this. Were you in the court on the day? Did they let you in?
They let me in on the day of the verdict. Yes, I was there for.
What was his? I want to know what was his reaction.
He to be honest with you, he was cold in my opinion. Just really, stone face, no emotion. Before he was. Before they actually, even before that closing statements, during that stuff, he was pretty stone cold. Now, there have been reports, and it wasn't me that reported this, that when they started reading the verdict, people said he had tears coming in his eyes. But I cannot, that's only me just telling you what others have reported. When I saw him, when they started reading the verdict, he had zero emotion and zero response. So he was pretty stoic and cold most of the time,
Didn't surprise you, did it?
No, it doesn't surprise me once you start getting the information. When you first walk, I saw him the first time in court, and I was sitting way closer than I was during this last time.
That, yeah.
And so you try to give him a fair shake and say, hey, he could be a very innocent man that's being accused of this,
You gave him a fair shot. I remember that.
Yeah, and so now when I look, it's a whole different. I look with different eyes, and so I think he got a fair trial, and so with a fair trial, he was convicted in a fair manner. So,
do you think he'll do an appeal?
I think there are going to be some appeals. I just don't know and what the basis could be on, because it wasn't the prosecution that rushed this to trial, and people need to understand that if it was up to the prosecution, they would have wanted it to be pushed out a little bit, because it gives them more time. It gives them more clarity on the situation. It gives them more time to maybe find out something different, more info. And so it was his team and the defense that pushed this through so quickly. And so they're not going to be able to appeal on a grounds of, it was a rushed trial, or, we didn't have good counsel, because this was pushed through by your counsel. So, it would have to be on some sort of weird legal technical, loophole, something.
Right.
It's not going to be on
What
like a
was,
legit deal,
What was Omar Fraze's reaction?
Well, now the reaction that people are reporting on multiple accounts. Again, I wasn't watching her, and you'd be amazed at how many little things are going on in that courtroom that you could keep your eyes on. And but her was that she ripped out her hearing aids, and when I heard that, I believe that because I've seen her do that already in court. Like when something was said up there that she didn't like, she would rip out her hearing aids. And so, seeing that before, it made sense that she did that when the verdict started coming in.
Very good. And I want to thank you, too, just like the lady who just spoke before me, for all that you did. And you did an amazing job and gave us a very close, we never would have been able to know any of this story without you, because nobody covered it like you. And thanks so much for that. It's a dear to my heart story, like I said to you a few months back. She just was a precious girl, and it was just kind of heart-wrenching to see what had happened. And I'm glad he did get justice. Thank you, Michael.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for calling tonight. It's been fun.
All righty. All right. God bless.
All right. You too. Bye-bye. I got to tell you, this story's not over, guys, and I'm pretty excited about some of the things that are coming out, even that were in the works today. My phone is filled up with some stuff. Are filled up with messages from different people, and people are going to continue to tell Kelsey's story. They're going to continue to tell the story of what happened and what went on, and I'm pretty excited that I'll be able to be a part of some of that coming up. It's actually going to come to your television screens. So you guys are live with Dadwithaphone, and we're taking phone calls. And right now we got somebody from Canada calling, going international now. You're live with Dadwithaphone.
Hey, Dadwithaphone, how are you? Calling from Canada.
I see that, all the way from the Great White North.
Well, we got the Great White North, all right. We got about, I don't know, foot and a half of snow.
Jeez, for sure. But, so, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts tonight?
I want to ask: is there not a video out on the internet somewhere of Robert Frazee speaking about flooding in his apartment or something?
There is a video out on there's a video, yes. There is a video out on the interweb of Robert Frazee talking at his apartments, yes.
Okay, because I've tried looking for it, can't find it. And then I went and joined some ancestry type thing where you can look up personal records, and there's nothing.
Yeah,
like Robert Frazee.
I actually may have put that video up. I may have that video on my Facebook somewhere. I looked
on your underground, and I looked on Dadwithaphone, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, but I upload so many videos. Sometimes I can't even find my own videos. I'll tell you what. I'll keep that in mind, and I'm gonna revisit that. Kind of revisit his whole thing and look more into that. There are people saying that they have found a death certificate, but I haven't seen it.
Well, I can't find it anywhere. Like, I can't even find a birth certificate for him.
Yeah, and a lot of that is because we're talking about a guy who was, in his 80s. Try to go find a birth certificate on my grandmother, or maybe he wasn't. I think he was close to his 80s. So I don't want to say he was 80, but I think he was actually probably like 65 or 70, because when people start telling me. But yeah, you just gotta be. Some of that stuff isn't out there, Some of that's not going to be out there, and people just make assumptions because they can't find it. And so, I have read into it and been like, well, geez, where is his dad? Why? And the reason I have, not because the internet, let me tell you the reason why I wonder where Robert Frazee and what happened with Robert Frazee is because I've spoken with Patrick's cousins, and they don't even know. They don't even know where he's at. And so,
that's exactly.
And even to the point where I had a message the other day from his cousin, and I was like, weren't you the one who told me that y'all don't even know what happened to Robert? And she had again said, yeah, we don't know what happened. And so that's weird to me. That's the real reason it's weird to me. Not because somebody can't find an obituary, not because somebody can't find a death certificate, but because members of their own family don't know what happened. And that's where it gets weird. So
I know, and it's strange because even if you're in a strange family, like you haven't spoken 20 years, you still get the gist of where a relative is either buried. What, they toss him out in a cow carcass pile out in the back, or there's nothing even on any cemeteries, crematoriums, nothing. Like, I have tried to dig to find out, because I did want to find out if it was a killing, money motivated for Patrick because of old Ma. Because I could see that happening, because if they're all fighting over assets, and old Ma is saying, well, Aaron ain't getting a farm, and Sean ain't getting a farm, and, if you want everything, you better have that baby. So
no, yeah, a lot of people have said that they think it's over the money, and I don't know that we'll know that because it's a juvenile thing, and they are pretty tight-lipped on all that. But
it will be, yeah.
But the father question are very legit, and I think they need to be addressed by somebody. And so I think we definitely.
And I also want to say, I want to thank you and your lovely family, but you especially. I'm gonna cry now, but
don't you start crying. Don't start crying. You're gonna make me start crying.
I'm so happy you stuck with this. You gave it your all. I am so proud of you.
Oh, now you're gonna make me start
if
crying.
If I had a son, I'd want him to be just like you.
Oh, that means a lot. Well, thank you for the kind words.
Everyone that's having a Thanksgiving meal, set an extra plate for Kelsey.
Absolutely.
And say an extra prayer.
Absolutely.
For her and her family. Please, she's touched a lot of moms out there, and a lot of grandmas, and, well, everybody, basically. So, I just want to thank you, Michael, for everything, and your lovely wife and your kids, and please be safe. Okay, look over your shoulder and just be safe.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for your kind words.
God bless you guys, okay?
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for calling in tonight.
Thanks, sweetie.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Y'all gonna make me freaking ball. I'm gonna turn this phone off. I'm gonna turn it off. Whoo! There y'all go. Oh, thumbs up. What's the chat talking about? Y'all staying civil up in there? Whew, got me crying. He just texted me. Oh, New Orleans is calling. Who just called me? How's it going? You're live with Dadwithaphone.
D-Wop, what's up?
Who's calling me now?
It's Swampy. What's going on, bro?
Swampy. It's been a minute.
Hey, shit, man. Oh, can I cuss?
Sure, it's a late night, and I had to check this isn't suitable for children on YouTube, so.
So listen, man. Oh, my God. Oh, put me in a boxing ring with old Ma. You know what? I'm an old lady, too, and I will kick that bitch's ass. I am over that woman.
Oh, my goodness. A boxing ring with old Ma, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, put me in. Put me in. Give me the gloves. I'm ready. I'll kickbox her
I'll beat her ass.
I almost saw a fight with old Ma and one of the
Yeah, I remember, dude.
It was hilarious.
I watch all your videos. You're hilarious, man. And if ever I can get them on a live, I'm there, man.
Well, thank you for calling, and
oh, you're a riot, dude. You are a riot. You are so cool, and I just wanted you to know. I mean, everybody already said what they said about you. All the praises are true. You're awesome. You know, you've done a lot of hard work around all this, so we all appreciate you out here.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for the call. I needed a good little snicker, and you opened it right up for sure. So.
Oh yeah. Oh man. It's a good thing I'm not in Colorado, because if I ran into that old cow at Safeway, it would be over.
So I know you probably shouldn't come visit, because it seems like people come.
You know, my niece is getting married not too far from you in about 10 days.
Well, you know, don't then. Okay, then just say you're not coming out, because I don't need them trying to ping my phone and trying to get your location if old Ma disappears. So, well, thank you for the call tonight.
Well, it's good to talk to you, D-Wop. It's really good to talk to you, Michael. And say hey to Nikki for me. You guys are awesome people.
Well,
just want you to know that.
She's listening right now. You got her cracking up in the other room. I can hear it. So thank you so much.
All right, sweetie. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye. Dude, my phone is blowing up now. I don't know who's trying to blow my phone up during that call. I only got one. Phone, so I've been telling you no, and then all of a sudden you quit calling. Oh, God, that's funny. Birmingham, Alabama, calling in. What's going on?
Roll Tide.
Uh-oh, this is Abby. I know that voice.
Hey.
Abby's on.
Hey, I called in right after Birmingham, Alabama.
Didn't y'all just get beat by LSU, though?
Hey, do you have to bring that up right now?
Didn't y'all just get stomped like y'all had that?
Let's just...
Well, y'all came back. Y'all almost came back, but...
Yeah.
Anyway. So
anyway.
what are your thoughts tonight, Miss Abby?
Okay, well, I've just got something really quick. But first, I want to say
Wait a minute. First of all, if any have ever heard Abby, none of this is going to be really quick. Just to let y'all know. Okay.
Really quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There is a death certificate. There is one, because when Sean Frazee was on the witness stand, he testified that he met Patrick Frazee to get his father's death certificate, and that's when he discovered the teenagers. And Patrick Frazee asked him about a scrapyard, and that's what they were doing. It was like November the 29th.
So it's
there is a death certificate.
It was a recent death certificate. So for those of you that are, let me just wrap this up for you so you understand what we're talking about. Were you there when he testified?
No.
Okay. So Abby's talking about when Sean Frazee testified in trial. Sean testified that he came up and met Patrick after Thanksgiving. And they were cleaning up the fire. And this is how they found out about the young kids who helped Patrick basically build the fire and clean it up. And so what Abby's saying is that Sean was there to meet Patrick about a death certificate. So he testified to it. Nobody has a copy of it. But like I said, sometimes those things just aren't online. So and that's why you have to go down and get certified copies and all that stuff. And so there you go. Death certificate exists.
Yeah, that's how he found out about the teenagers, because they were with him that day. And then he asked about a scrapyard. He asked, like, the closest scrapyard, or I don't know, something about scrapyard. And Sean Frazee told him the name of one. So anyway, there is one, but I had already looked it up back in the summer. But Colorado, death certificates aren't public record, you have to be eligible to acquire one, and you have to be, it has a criteria, and so you have to be family, and it lists the specific family or law enforcement, so you can't just get that. You can't even pay to get that if you're not anybody special. So anyway, that's that. But I just wanted to call and say, I was going to make a post about it, and then I didn't, and I was going to message you, and I was like, no, because he's got so many messages. But I just wanted to say thank you so much. Said the other night on the live was super cool about me and my daughter. It was really sweet. So I just wanted to say thank you. And like the last caller, I wouldn't have even known about this story had it not been for you. And I don't even know how, I found you. I was asking that question, I think, to myself one day. I was thinking, after all this was done a couple of days ago, I was thinking, how did I even, stumble upon him? To, think about that. How did you come up through, because you had to come up through my feed, my Facebook. I'm like, it's weird to think about, how did I find you?
Well, what were you watching? Were you looking at, were you looking at other cases?
No, I'm not and for the record, by the way, I'm not a Facebooker. Just saying. You said the other night on Jace for Justice, she's a Facebooker. I am not a Facebooker. But anyway, I don't even know what that is. But I know I wasn't looking at any cases. I remember, I know it was December the 5th or the 6th when I started listening, because when your lives popped up, I just started listening to it, and so I was every time you went live, I was listening to it, but I was trying to think about, how did you come about, how did you come, I don't know, because I didn't know about the story until you.
I'm just an angel, and I'm gonna, after this case is over, I'm just gonna disappear and vanish, and everybody's gonna be like, Dad was really just an angel.
Oh no, you're not gonna disappear. I'm gonna
Anyway, well, thank you, Abby, for your phone call, and thanks for your insight on the birth certificate.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been real. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I kept it short and sweet. Just saying.
Well, some people thought you got a little long-winded, but it's all right. Hey, well, thanks for calling.
ADD.
Thanks for calling, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Awesome, folks. Great show tonight. Great show. What time is it? 8? Oh, we've only been going an hour. Better hang on. It's early, folks. All the crazies aren't out yet. They're just now getting the tag that DWAP's doing freaking call-in. I got people leaving me messages. Maybe let's see if we got a new message that someone left. Oh, now this is the kind I like. No caller ID. No caller ID calls. We like these. You're live with Dad with a phone.
Hey, Dad with a phone.
Hey, how's it going?
This is Marina. I'm calling you from Boulder.
Oh, but you're definitely hiding your number.
Well, yeah, I'm a smart young lady.
Smart. Well, most of the time people hide their number when they're about to go off on me. So I was getting prepared for this one.
Oh no. I appreciate everything.
Oh, so
you've been doing.
You're just hiding your number. You're just still going to be nice.
Oh yeah, like I said, I'm just a smart young woman. I'm not a fool. If I gave my number out, I make sure I don't give it to the wrong people.
There you go, for sure. So, calling from Boulder.
Yes, sir. Not very far from you.
Not very far at all.
No.
What are your thoughts on how things kind of played out?
I have some extended family that lives up near Cripple Creek, and back when it was mining, and many of them have all passed and whatnot. But it's all ghost town. So I know it's when you talk about it being ass backwards.
Yeah.
I get it. Absolutely. But I just wanted to praise you on everything that you've done as far as showing your support for Kelsey, and her family. just a couple of questions that I kind of wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Was, so do you think that any of the people that were friends with Patrick are going out and helping Ma now? I mean, like the young boy, when he testified, they asked him, do you like Patrick Frazee, or what are your feelings on something to that effect? And the kid was a little hesitant. I mean, this is all speculation because, nobody could be in the courtroom, but the kid seemed fearful to say, no, he doesn't like him, or his opinion of him was not good any longer.
Well,
had you heard that?
I don't know because I wasn't in there, but I don't know his exact demeanor and when he was testifying. I do know that this town is 7,500 people, but the community in which Patrick rolled in is hundreds of people. It's not like 100,000 people. So even his community amongst himself was even smaller still. So when someone is he knows he's testifying against this guy who paid him money, who he worked with. This guy is working in the community in the ranch hand line of work kind of stuff, and is working for other people. And so these kids were put in a very, very crazy situation because unwittingly they built the fire that burned Kelsey. Unwittingly, they, helped haul off the trash from the fire. And so,
I feel bad for him.
It's a
those
super
kids have
emotional.
To be haunted.
Yeah, it's a super emotional spot to be in. So.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine. And then you know how kids can be cruel if the other kids are giving them a hard time.
Yeah, and just so people understand,
or you did this. Or,
yeah, and just so people understand that we're talking about a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old. So
exactly,
they're not 12 and 13-year-old kids, but they're 17 and 18 years old. And so it is what it is. But I don't think. I don't know if people are going out. I don't think there's any more animals out at his place. I think they've removed all the animals either from the Humane Society that came and got some to other people who came and got some. So I believe all his animals have been removed off the property. With that being, I think, and now, to be honest with you, I don't know how many times I could have maybe walked past old Ma before. But I've seen her a couple times in town. Other people have seen her in town. So maybe she, and maybe it's now because she's visible, or maybe Patrick did most of the shopping before. Patrick came to town a lot or whatever. So now that she's having to do stuff for herself and get out and get around, I don't know if people are helping her out. I do know that she had a team of people or a support group that was at court with her. I do know that she had pastors that had been coming to court and praying with her in there. So I know she has some support from local community people. I can tell you that family members have reached out to me and I'll say this right here online. And I haven't said this before, but Frazee family members have reached out to me and asked me to take it easy on old Ma. They've asked me to take it easy on Sean and take it easy on Aaron. And so they've asked me to do that. Now I haven't necessarily done that, but these are Frazee family members that have just said, "Hey, they're having to live with this." My response to them was, I would have more sympathy on old Ma had she, when asked to testify, didn't say, "Yeah, I'll testify if you give me immunity." What do you
She
need?
didn't even show up to the candlelight vigil.
Well,
she showed absolutely no support for Kelsey or Kaylee or that family.
And so and that's
nothing.
And
so
that's
to feel
why,
sorry for her in any way, I'm sorry, I can't feel it.
Well, and most people can't, and I don't expect people to. And I have said it. I've said it from here. I think the sentence in which she having to live with, which is the sentence of the misery, the bitterness, the whatever is going on, the lack of compassion, even to the point where Patrick Frazie's own brother testified against him.
Did he really roll? I'm sorry to cut you off. Did he really roll his eyes when he stepped down after testifying? Did you hear that?
I read. I think I read, or somebody's made messages to that. I don't. I would weigh that with a grain of salt.
Between the two of them?
I don't know who said that, by the way. So, like, if it was a tweet from one of the reporters that you feel is a reputable reporter, then you're going to have to believe it. I've said this before in that courtroom. There's so much going on, and because they didn't allow people to, or they didn't allow video of it, it's hard to know how many stories and how many perspectives. So if someone saw him roll his eyes at Patrick, then they saw him roll his eyes at Patrick. If he didn't, he didn't.
I just figured that you being in the town and in the area, you hear people talk and people gossip and things like that. And so I think there's a lot. Is there that much hatred between the brother, the sister? I know you've had some trouble with the sister, right? She's a little off her, like the cheese slid off her cracker.
Oh, the sister is. No, I mean, that's straight up. And I've heard that from more than one occasion. I don't know how much dissension between them is. I know that the brother was with Patrick on Thanksgiving. I know that the brother was with Patrick when he turned in his phone. I know that the brother was there a few days later looking for a death certificate, according to some of the testimony. So, I'm glad he took the stand. He didn't have to take the stand against his brother, and he took the stand, and he tells him, he changed his testimony a few times, where he said before he felt like he said Patrick pulled up front, but then he changed his testimony that Patrick pulled to the side of the house with the vehicle. He didn't testify whether or not he could see or not see a black tote. He couldn't remember. There were some things that he, back and forth. I just don't know.
Law enforcement's probably, some of them are as dirty as they come. You know that. So, yeah. Especially those up in that area, because they all want to be the old John Wayne.
Let's be fair. If I were to tell you...
Now, I know some police officers that are with Boulder County Sheriff's Office, and they're very reputable, so I'm not saying all of them.
Let's be fair. The Catholic Church is full of pedophile priests. If there's pedophile priests, there's probably a few corrupt cops. So just to put this in perspective. So do I think all cops are corrupt? No. But do I think there's a vast majority? I don't know. I think there's a vast majority of priests that were pedophiles that we just hid in a blanket. So I think that there's some people everywhere that are corrupt. And if our priests can be corrupt, so can our cops, And so we don't have to sit here and argue over corruptness or not. I can tell you this. There's a lot of...
You think they're watching him?
Oh, they're watching this right now?
No, the brother.
Oh, the brother? Probably not. No, these guys are political jockeying now.
Okay.
They're holding the Candlelight Visual Friday. Like, it is being hosted by the Woodland Park Police Department, which in all intensive purposes sounds okay and sounds normal. But from what I'm hearing from major media sources and major media conglomerates is that this is the first time in history that they can recall a police department holding a candlelight vigil for someone. And so, like, the police chief here is definitely making political jockey moves off of this case, just like the sheriff, just like the DAs, just like any of these elected officials. And so, you got to be. I am very much happy, and I think it's a very good idea to host a candlelight vigil. And for Kelsey, it was weird that it was going to be hosted by the Woodland Park Police Department. But nevertheless, a candlelight vigil is being hosted Friday for her, and I'm happy about that. And so
I'd like to think the heat that you brought and the attention that you brought, and by the grace of God, you were there to fight for Kelsey. I'd like to think that you played a big part in that. So my heart goes out to you.
I try to stay humble about that stuff because a lot of people did a lot. And those investigators, the CBI investigators, those cops, all those cops, they had to do a lot to get Patrick convicted. And they did a lot. And so
you did a lot too, though, Dad. You brought a lot of attention and
I definitely recognize.
So I appreciate that.
I recognize the change and the flip and how social media played a big part of this case being nationally known. I recognize all of that and recognize my part in that, and I'm humbled in that. And I thank you for the kind words. So
yes, no, you all try, and I won't keep you from anybody else.
No
I know
problem.
Other people want to speak with you, but I just wanted to make sure I gave you a shout out and ask you a couple of questions, see how you felt, and try and have a blessed Thanksgiving. And like she said, all of us try and just remember Kelsey and Kaylee and the family in our prayers.
Absolutely.
This next few weeks and forever. That bench is beautiful. I'm going to try and get up there this summer to plant some flowers.
That would be awesome.
So, all right. Awesome. You take care, and I will let you go, Dad. Thanks
all right.
So much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye. Great phone calls tonight, folks. Great phone calls. So happy. Life is good. Woo! Gary, Indiana, you can always call in now. You can be live with Dad with a phone. I saw I missed you. I think we'll burn some sage for the... I need to get me a glass of water. Whew. Good crazy night tonight. Good phone calls. Good energy. Uh-oh. I recognize this one. International, baby. Hello, you're live with Dad with a phone.
Hey, I thought you might need a call from Australia just to mix it up a bit.
Absolutely. Miss Murder / Miss Mystery is in the house. When I looked down and saw Down Under was on the phone, I was like, man, this whole thing just went international.
Yeah, it did. Well, first of all, well done, mate. Well done for your part in it, and for everything that's happened. I think it's been an amazing emotional ride. Like I could hear some of the calls coming in tonight, and I was like tearing up, and I'm going, oh my God, it's just too much. And then this picture of Kelsey's bench, it's the first time I've seen it, and it's just like, even I'm speechless. How's that? It's crazy.
I'm absolutely right with you. It's been and you've been on this ride a long time with us.
Yeah, from the very beginning. Well, almost from the very beginning.
Yeah.
When you were, I think you only interviewed you. I'm going back that far.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while. It was from the get-go. If you were kind of watching Oni and Jay and them, and that's where you kind of first started with this. That was at the forefront of this case, and no, that's awesome.
Oh, I know. You had the drone with at the rubbish tip.
Oh, okay, out at the dump. Yeah, when they went out to search the dump.
Yeah. Hmm?
Yeah, no, that's been That was all right in that front window of this thing. It's been a long. I mean, it will be a year on Friday from the time the crime was, the murder happened. It'll be a year. Now Thanksgiving's not till next week, but by a different calendar date. But the 22nd will be Friday, and so it's crazy. It's a wild ride.
And so I just was wondering, after everything, like, how do you feel? Like, it must be, because I know when you get close to a case and, things like that, it takes so much emotion out of you.
Well, I can tell you, and I think I tried to.
It does. I'm not sure about the guys, but I was curious to know, like, how does this feel, looking back on a year of this?
I don't know that it's hit me. I don't know that it's actually. I don't know that I necessarily feel that it's complete yet, because we're still got this lingering sentencing with Crystal Lee, and so I kind of don't feel like, even though I'm sitting here and hashtag justice for Kelsey or whatever, I feel like there's been some justice served with Patrick, but I still feel like it's still kind of open-ended because we're waiting on the sentencing for Crystal Lee. And the flip side of that,
I kind of feel like, is there ever going to be any, is there going to be a feeling of justice served? Because the most you can get is 3 years, right? So.
Yeah, but I think with today's internet world, she got a life sentence, There are some of you that are listening that will never ever stop talking about it. And like I said and have said before, 100 years from now, when you and I are dead and gone, and it's an entirely different world. There will be history books, there will be movies, there will be Facebook Lives that were restored in history, and when you talk about Bundy and Manson and Dahmer and Frazee and Lee, these will be intersectable names. People will never, ever forget this, especially in today's society. And so this little case here, by the way, like I keep saying, this isn't going to slow down. Like, talking about this case, I'm telling you, all the big guys are now interested in this case. And so where just a few of them let out a few videos where you've only seen a Dateline and an Inside Edition and maybe a 48 Hours, now all your docuseries, all your production homes around the country are looking at this case going, who's going to do the next 16 series on this thing? And so once the discovery and once the interviews are done, I promise you that there are interviews being scheduled, and so it's going to be something people talk about, and they're not going to allow the memory of Kelsey to just dissipate, and they're not going to allow Crystal Lee to ever live down what she did. That's the thing, because it would be easier for her to take a 10-year prison sentence than what the world has to offer her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
She's going to be wishing. She's going to be wishing in 2 or 3 years that she was behind bars for 10 or 15 years. Because of the way the world is, and so, I think the closure in that part is done. It's just, man, I'm never going to drive down the street.
No.
That's my big deal. I don't drive down the street. I don't ever drive down the street now and not think of Kelsey. So.
Yeah. I mean. I think of Lauren every day, and I'm here now. I'm back home now, but.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Do we have a sentencing date for KK?
Not yet. What they have is a hearing date, and I think people need to understand that this hearing date could actually turn into a sentencing date. Because Dan May said it in his press conference. He says we have a review hearing set up for her, but it could also turn into a sentencing date. And so, even though it's not scheduled to be a sentencing date, it could.
It could turn into it.
Yeah, because the sentencing doesn't have to take long. But I think with her sentencing, the reason why they want to put a date on the calendar is because they're going to have some special testimony. And they're going to have some special letters written and stuff. And so I don't think they're going to try to rush her sentencing, because from all demeanor, from all intensive purposes, Dan May wants her to serve every day in jail that she can possibly serve. And so...
I see that from him.
Yeah.
Captain Suter on your feed said, is that sentencing going to be... Is it going to have a camera feed in the courtroom allowed?
Well, and that's another thing. It's very possible they could allow... that someone could file for extended media coverage, and they allow it. They have allowed it in the past. I would believe that... I would believe that it's possible. But on the flip side, they may ban everybody, you know? So.
We will see. Well, good job.
Well, thank you so much. All the way from Australia, folks. If you're... Listen, this number has a 61 area code on it. That's all you need to know. It starts with 61 in Australia. Hey, thank you for calling in.
No, that's all right. It's been a
means
minute,
something.
and I just need to sit down and just rest for a minute, talk to you, and then get back to it.
Yeah. Well, be encouraged, and thanks for sticking with it yourself, because you've been here from the start too, and I think about you often, and I think about and I see your feed. Don't you think you're always going to be Miss Murder to me? So
I know. I think I always will be to myself too.
No worries. All right. Thank you for watching. If you guys haven't, yep. All right, we'll talk to you later. If you guys haven't checked out Miss Murders, Miss Mysteries YouTube channel, check her out from YouTube. That girl got called out by a sheriff in Texas. That's how crazy she is. She's as crazy as Dadwithaphone. And she's followed a bunch of cases, and you can go check out Miss Murder and Miss Mystery. Thanks for calling in tonight. Oh, my wife brought me some water. I'm burning some sage. Y'all can get the famous picture. Get y'all screenshots ready, people. Get your screenshots. This is going to be a classic Dadwithaphone photo here. Nah, sage, y'all. That's sage, people. I smell marijuana. Nope, that's just sage. That's just sage. Crazy night tonight. Phone calls from all over the world. Canada, Australia, and Alabama. Just as foreign as the rest of us. So... Mary Swampy, is that Miss Swampy that called me earlier? That's awesome. Oh, I love when my phone is filled with numbers that I have no clue who they are. Tomorrow will be... If they tried to ping my phone, they'd be like, Michael had a phone call from this lady who Alabama, Australia. Y'all would all be in trouble right now if they ping my phone. The Robert Frazee video dealt with a flood at the Bonifay Apartments and was posted on KRDO Channel 13 year 2017. Somebody, there you go. Somebody there called it KRDO, a bunch of fake news, folks. Oh, did I say that out loud? Anyway. What's we got?
ask you, look, I don't know whether you want to talk about this or not, whether you do, just let me know. This is not your first rodeo for trials. You were involved in a...
Somebody's sending messages. I'm a 504. Uh-oh. I got messages I was going to listen to. That's what I was going to listen to before. You never know what people wrote on the messages voicemail. Yes, no, that's yesterday. No voicemails. Sweet. Sam is the one who reported that Sean rolled his eyes. Well, there you go. Sam's the one that also reported that Frazee had tears in his eyes. What I can tell you is that the press had one of the worst seats in the house. How about that? That's all I can tell you. But they had the cheap seats, is what we like to call it. Thanks for calling in tonight. We're going to roll this thing down. I don't know how long we've been going. How long I've been going? Live for 3 hours and 16 minutes. That's a roll-off time, kids. There's no way I've been going live for 3 hours and 16. It's only 8. It's only 8:30. Any more phone calls tonight from you kids from around the country? Who's Sam? Who the F is Sam? I should quote Conor McGregor right now. No, Sam is a good reporter. Sam works for KOAA Channel 5. Shout out to the Channel 5 kids. They be watching. Y'all just wait for it. One day, maybe Dad on the phone and some of these news reporters can sit down and have a real chit-chat about what we really think went on in the Patrick Frazee case. Y'all need to ask me one day about the tooth, because I want to talk about the tooth, but I don't want to talk about the tooth on this. The butt pucker to come, Miss Swampy said. All right. Any other thing? Anybody else? Somebody texted me. Oh, I'm supposed to go eat breakfast tomorrow morning. You guess who's in town, baby? Oh, crap. Glens Falls, New York. Hello? This is Dad with a phone.
Hi, Dad. This is Tina Karp. I'm one of your biggest fans.
You're one of my biggest fans?
I am. I've been watching you since you've started coverage over the Kelsey Barrett case.
Where do you live?
I live near Saratoga Springs, New York.
Okay. I saw your phone number came up from a place that I actually used to live very close to.
No way.
Yeah, I used to live in Lake Luzerne, Florida.
Oh, hey. I was in Lake George last weekend.
Yeah, I actually worked at a place in Lake George as well, and spent a couple of years up in that area. So I was like, who's calling me from New York up here, upstate New York? So anyway,
well, it sounds like Woodland Park is close to, it's relatively the same as the Lake Luzerne area being small town.
Well, people don't believe me, like when I say that I've lived in mountains a lot like this, because the Adirondack Mountains, although the elevation's not the same, it feels the same. And Lake Luzerne, for sure, is a lot like Woodland Park. And boy, I could tell some stories from up there, because I actually worked for a mafia guy, and I seen some bodies disappear in the back of a place one time, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah,
bodies disappear everywhere.
Yeah, bodies disappear everywhere. So, well, that's crazy. So, upstate New York, you've been watching Dad with a phone for a minute. What do you think about all this this court and how it all kind of came out?
Well, I have my reservations because I see a lot of corruption in that area. So I have a lot of reservations on everything.
So you feel like okay.
I
So
feel
wait,
like
now
there's
are you sympathizing in a sense with Patrick?
Well, I have so many reservations. Not only that, I've worked in the legal field for almost 30 years. And I worked for a criminal attorney that had 47 acquittals in a row. So I know how law enforcement works and how corrupt it is. And I also know how things aren't brought out into light in trials, only what evidence is brought out is what they speak of. So I just think there's so much more underlying in this case.
I will not disagree with you. I think that there is. And so like what do you do at that point? So if you and I were to sit here and say there's some crazy foul play, some craziness that went on with this.
My first thought is there was no defense whatsoever.
Again, I couldn't say you were not telling the truth.
I have never, even though you couldn't view this trial for the reports we got, it was appalling that he wasn't defended. And there's a reason for that, and it's going to come up later.
That's, you wouldn't be the first one to bring this up, and there's also a couple of things happening politically around here. They're about to elect a new DA. It's an election year for the DA. There's rumors that the police chief wants to run for sheriff. There's a lot of different little underlining things that people like that are on the other side of this YouTube may not understand that are actually happening locally politically. And so I could see how this case could be rushed along in a manner to, close it out of the public's eye.
And I also believe Dan May saved his face at the end.
With the devil statement and with the closing arguments?
Yes, I think he just saved face doing all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, in a sense that, well, he convinced me. He convinced me with the closing arguments as far as was he going to be able to close, the deal. And then when don't you think for 1 second that we made a deal with the devil was a half flippant statement? That was a planned, very calculated statement that Dan May made during the press conference. And that wasn't just by accident when he called Crystal Lee the devil and said we made a deal with the devil. And so there's a lot of political stuff and all these little thank yous and all this stuff. With all that said and done, we can't let it overshadow that, something happened to Kelsey. And I think Patrick was involved. I think they had enough proof that Patrick was involved.
Definitely Patrick was involved. There's no doubt there.
So where do you think the fishiness is, though?
I'm unsure because so much stuff was put under the rug and not brought out. And I think, like you said, they pushed it along so fast, so furious, and they're hiding things by doing that.
Well, but no one can really say that it was the prosecution that did that, because it was definitely his defense team that pushed this along, because they could have at any point said we need more time, and the judge without hesitation would have said, okay, you do need more time. And so I feel like with that the only people who can say that it was rushed along was the defense. The prosecution didn't rush this along,
Well, the lack of defense rushed it.
a lousy defense for sure.
Yeah.
No, and I understand that. I understand the idea that there was no argument of any real significance. But what if I said this? What if Patrick admitted to the public? See, they didn't offer. First of all, people need to understand. They didn't offer Patrick a deal. He had no choice but to either plead guilty or not guilty. And so he may have gone to his lawyer and said, I'm guilty, but I'm not going to plead guilty because they're not offering me any deal. And so if the only deal I got is to go to trial, then let's go to trial. And the defense, the public defender, is bound by the law to defend him. And so the public defender may have done the very best he could do because he knows that his client is guilty. And I mean, when you turn to the jury and say, my client's an idiot, I mean, that's not the best of defenses, you know? And so at some point, we don't know the story Patrick told his attorney. But if he told his attorney he's guilty and he just was like, you're going to have to do the best you can, then we may have just seen the best he could, you know? And so at that point, what do you do for Patrick? Because they didn't offer him a deal. It wasn't like they went to him and was like, dude, you say you're guilty and we're going to give you 70 years. You're going to maybe be out in 30. You know, they didn't go to him and say that. They didn't say we'll give you 100 years. They didn't even say we won't seek the death penalty. They just didn't seek the death penalty. And think about if they would have sought the death penalty and they would have got it, you know. This thing would have been a real cluster then. So those are just my kind of thoughts on that, you know, as far as like if they tried to appeal on a poor defense method.
True, but even if you're defending your client, and even if they told you they were guilty, you still put a vigorous defense out.
Well, and he put up a defense in a sense of he questioned the motive behind KK's testimony. He questioned the motive. You can't question the motive, though, behind Patrick's good friend who says, you know, he's like a stepson to me, but yet he said these things to me. Right? You can't question the motive behind that because that guy doesn't want to testify. Those girlfriend, that little 21-year-old girlfriend that got up and testified against Patrick and said, yeah, he's, you know, he hasn't said these things to me. I didn't know about this girl, you know, all this stuff. She didn't want to testify against Patrick. And so people have to understand that the only way Patrick ever won, the only way he ever won was if he went to trial. And because they never offered him a deal, he didn't have an option but to go to trial. And so what we saw was maybe the best defense a guilty man can get, you know? And so, especially with a public pretender. I mean, this was a public defender. He didn't pay. Had he paid a lawyer and that lawyer fought like the public defender, yeah, man, I'd be sitting back going, yeah, I probably want my money back, you know. So.
Yeah, I just think he left it wide open for an appeal.
Well, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if and what those appeal motions look like. What grounds would they appeal on? And who's going to appeal for Patrick that the public defender didn't do his job? Another public defender, you know? Like, I mean, he has to hire lawyers, and who's going to come out of the woodwork and pay for those lawyers? It's not like the ACLU is going to be knocking down Patrick's door. You know, he's not necessarily the prime candidate for the ACLU to come in and say, oh, this guy didn't get a fair shake. He didn't get a fair shake, you know. And so it'll be weird to see what comes of that. So But thanks for the people are really, they've even said this very interesting call right here because people have thought about that. Why didn't the defense put up a big fight? Will that be used as an appeal excuse? And we'll see. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, but the best result was Kelsey did get justice.
So you feel see, like I still am kind of on the, hashtag justice for Kelsey up there, but I still am on one of those thoughts that, like, until the KK sentencing is done, I'm not ready to start screaming. If KK walks with 0 jail time, Dad with the phone might be picketing out in the streets or something. So I'll feel better if she does some jail time.
Well, with the probability of going to trial without a body, I believe justice was served. Even if KK walks, there's going to be street justice.
Well, yeah, no, I wouldn't deny that. And with what you're saying there, as far as them getting the conviction without a body, no, I think that they did their job. I mean, nobody can argue that the prosecution, that the jury, that they did their job, and Patrick is never going to see the outside of a jail facility. And so.
And I do have to say, and kudos for you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been so heavily, advised on what was going on. Thank you for reporting all of this, and thank you for bringing out to light, because I do believe you gave it national coverage. I honestly do.
Well,
because I'm on different, crime scenes and different avenues of people that are getting hurt in different ways, and you gave this more national coverage than any other one I've been on in a year. And I applaud you for it. And I also feel bad because, like I say, small town and corrupt, they're already chasing you around.
Yeah, but see, they thought this was my first rodeo. They didn't know I lived in Lake Luzerne. They didn't know. They didn't know. This ain't my first small town rodeo. So no, they didn't know. They didn't know. As a matter of fact, do you know the Painted Pony Rodeo up there in Lake Luzerne?
Oh, I do. I know it well.
Yeah. So for 3 seasons, I was a professional bullfighter and rodeo clown at the Painted Pony Rodeo.
I worked at Lake George myself at the shoreline.
Oh, that's awesome. And I lived right there off of Lake George and worked for a couple of little Wild West dude ranches that are owned up there. And then, so no, I know that area well and have spent many of day snowmobiling on Lake George in the wintertime and riding horses around it in the summertime.
I was going to say, this is not your first rodeo. You've already met up with the cowboys long before.
Literally not my first rodeo, but a lot of my rodeo time was actually spent right up there in the Lake Luzerne, IPRA, the all that area up there. So no, I know that area. So thank you for the phone call today.
Oh, not a problem. And I got to say, in a little bit way, being a little bit selfish here, it's almost like I followed you for a year and my relationship's going to break up with you soon.
Well, you don't think that with the phone's going anywhere time soon. And like I keep saying, and I want to re-emphasize on this, the national coverage of this case has really just begun, and the real stories that we're going to get real national attention are just now being put together since this thing has been adjudicated. So this case isn't going away anytime soon. So, all right. Well, thank you for your call.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You're live with Dad with a Phone.
Hi, this is Karen.
Karen, how are you doing?
Good. I'm from Iowa. I just had a couple. Well, I had one question about Crystal. Do you think like she'll write a book and like make money? I mean, you know what I'm saying. Like, I know that's
No,
gonna
like
fan on and stuff, but
will
like,
she ever come up with like the OJ book that said,
right,
if I was gonna kill Kelsey, then this is
like,
what I
you know,
would have
just
done. Yeah,
right.
like
Because I know, like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk over you.
no. I'm asking. I mean, yeah, I think she will. I don't know that she will. I don't know that she will. Like, I don't know that she will write the book, but I could see her obviously partnering up with someone that could come in and goes and tells the real life story of Crystal Lee, or something like that.
I was kind of curious about too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, and the only other thing that I was going to ask is, like, with any documentaries and stuff that come out, I was just kind of curious about. I can't imagine the Barris family would like that. I mean, I know they're private, and I know you've seen them a lot more than a lot of people. But, I mean, just for my own statement, I think Crystal is fairly young, and she will get hers, because someday that baby will be 18, and she will know, you know, the story. And to think about she actually spent time with that woman just really, really makes me sick. But Crystal Lee will get hers, because that baby will grow up and she will be an adult someday.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, I would be, I'd be surprised if Crystal Lee sees Kaylee's 18th birthday. And that just, in a sense that, could her life change? Could something drastically take place that changes her life? You know, and she fades away and nobody knows who she is, or we all know who she is. And is Crystal Lee going to have a Kanye West moment? I don't think so. I don't think people are going to accept a Kanye West moment from Crystal Lee. So could something change that would help her? Yes. In today's age of social media and internet and Wikipedia, I have said it even today that somebody should go put next to the devil the definition Crystal Lee, according to Dan May, you know. And so
I agree.
I don't know. For Kaylee, what I wish for Kaylee, I wish that and I'm gonna tell you that I think that there's something more special, even than that, even more than any quiet success. That little baby will indeed have an incredible calling and tell on her life, both from the struggles that she has yet to face, and the blessings and the things to come her way. And so for Kaylee, I pray that the memory of her mother is with her forever. I pray that the memory of the situation never haunts her. I pray that the memory of the things that she has been through will never touch her innocent soul, and that the memory of her mother will just overshadow anything that could hinder her or anything. And so for her, I don't even, I would never even want her to be bitter or to be an 18-year-old to say I'm finally an adult and could do something to KK. I think KK will either, one, prison will take care of her. Two, she'll go through prison and get out, and we'll have a rude awakening to her little I'm a rodeo queen life. And, you know, that justice in this life or the next will be served to every one of those. And if there's more people involved, like, if there's other people that were actually involved that we actually don't know about, I pray that you are tormented. I pray that your soul is jerked from within you, and that you do have you never have a restless, you never have a sleep night. You have restless nights for the rest of your life. And so if you were involved in this thing and you didn't get caught, may the Lord save your soul, because that's it, So, yeah, I mean, we could get, So, man, you got me going all kinds of places.
I just want to let you know that it was really cool. Like, I've watched a lot of YouTube stuff and the true crime community, and it was first class what you did that day about just asking for prayers. That was first class.
Oh, are you talking about before the trial?
Yes.
Yeah,
that was
man.
Just way first class.
Man, I
really hope that you flourish, and I hope that, even the community of broadcasting and everything like that really takes notice of you, because you got something, buddy. You really, really do. And I pray for you and your family. Much love to Nikki, because she's a cutie pie.
She is. She's absolutely. Thank you so much for the kind words.
You bet.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Damn, make me cry. You guys don't know how prophetic you are, man. If I could tell you some things, I would tell you some things. Today has been a great day. Can't wait. I can't wait for the future, folks. That's the truth. What's up? Call-in night with Dad. Man, this one's been good. Didn't even really start off slow. Kind of started off with a bang, and we just went running. Back to back to back to back to back phone calls. Got a little sage burn in between. Blessings and muffles and all that on y'all. We're going to keep going. Are y'all falling asleep? The East Coast is asleep. Oh, text messages coming in. I'm live. Oh, somebody's saying play some drone video. Who's texting me this right now? That's what I thought this was, right? Yeah. At the ranch. Okay, so people want to see the drone video of the day KK was at the ranch. Hey, Duo. Got you covered. Denise asked that if I would light a candle for her at the prayer vigil on Friday, candle lighting service. Let me see if I can pull some video up here. Somebody's asked. I don't know if I have this one. Oh yeah, I do, because I played it earlier. Which one is this? Oh, let's see. Oh, crap. Not really. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Oh no, this was the day Patrick came in. This was the day actually Patrick pled guilty. I'm looking for different videos to show you guys. People have asked, but if you want to call in, you can call in. This was the day that Patrick actually pled guilty to or pled not guilty. Oh, Colorado's in the house. Hello, you're live with Dad with a phone.
Hey, what's up, Michael?
Hey, what's up? Who's this?
That's Sarah.
That's what I thought. I just was making sure. Hey, did you just ask me to play some video?
Yeah.
Okay, let me find it. Now you're calling in. So Sarah is live with us. Sarah was in court on, it was in court on Monday. Weren't you?
Yeah, I was there.
Yes. So
Yeah,
tell
you
us.
sat right behind me.
Give us your take on what went down on Monday.
It was pretty crazy. You know, Patrick walked by and everybody got to go in. It's pretty wild seeing all the media there. And, yeah, we got the guilty verdict, which kicks ass.
Now, for people listening live, just so you guys understand, Sarah actually lives closer to Kelsey than where I live. Sarah lives literally probably within, maybe 150 yards at the most, if you were just to go by kind of how the crow flies, from where Kelsey's apartments are. So Sarah's also a local here in Woodland Park, and so she was over at the trial. But you've been following this case from the very, very start.
Yeah. I think we had spoke about it early on when they heard somebody was missing, and they messaged you to see if you knew what was going on with that. And pretty much been following ever since. I'm gone on the road a lot, and I watch you and try to keep up with it all.
For
I'm
sure.
Just glad.
So people have heard me talk about a local girl that messaged me first. Well, Sarah was that local who literally told me about this. I had seen something on social media before, but I hadn't really paid attention to it and followed it. It wasn't actually until Sarah right here messaged me and kind of turned me onto what was happening and how close and local it really was. So that just puts a little concept for all of you guys listening. There would be a dad with a phone, but I don't know that I necessarily would have jumped on this case right away because I wasn't.
I think you would have.
I mean, it wouldn't have taken long because of the nature of it, but you tip me off to stuff all the time, so it's not like it's anything you hadn't done before. Sarah would message me.
What I originally heard was that there was a girl or a woman that had gone missing from Walmart. That was the initial thing I heard. Somebody had been missing from Walmart, and obviously that was not true. It was Safeway. It was the last place she was seen. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. So maybe as a different local and who's not necessarily as tied as far as how this thing came out, how do you think the local community, and even though you travel a lot, you know a lot of people in town, how do you think the local community responded to the whole thing? And then maybe have you talked to anybody since the verdicts come out?
I found that the community seemed to distance themselves, and I know in my neighborhood on Kelsey Street, it seemed like half of Lake Street, all the houses went up for sale, and we ended up moving back up to my house. So I don't know, it just kind of got quiet even on the community page and other pages. It hasn't been talked about too much besides the paper. And
yeah, it was
I haven't really
it was like I think like Trevor followed this story. Trevor's a local newspaper guy, and he kind of followed the story and would kind of wrote through the whole year a little piece or would keep updates. But other than the local paper, it wasn't like this was very much a talk of the town at all. In my opinion, and I'm just asking, what do you think? It wasn't really the talk of the town after the initial press conference kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, Sarah. So you want to see the video of the day I was over the Frazee property while they were doing the search.
Yeah. So I'm wondering. So is the ranch part of the father's estate? And if it is, is she going to have to move?
And if she does, man, I think you should go over and walk through the house if they have an open house.
Oh, shoot. Okay, well, first of all, I don't think the father owned the property. I actually think, according to my Onyx map, that the property is in Sheila Frazie's name.
Oh.
And so, yeah, that's just kind of what I have found over just looking at stuff over the year. And so, definitely, I don't think she's going to have to move. I don't know. The Nash Ranch was just leased land. And I just started. This isn't the video of. This is the separate day. But I'll just let this one play out for a second. This is the day. This isn't the day of the search warrant. I gotta find that video. But this is.
And dude, what about the Nash Ranch video? Like, I remember you had a video when you were there.
Yep, I played that earlier.
Oh man, I don't know. I've been on pretty much the whole time.
No, I didn't play it earlier in this video. I played it earlier today in another live video. But yeah, I've reposted some of those videos. This is the actual property. Now, this is not the search warrant day. This is actually a day I went back and shot video of the ranch and took my time. Because the day that I shot of the search warrant, the cops were like literally looking over my shoulder as I was flying the drone. So this is an actual video that I shot on a different day, but I will kind of walk you through it. Off to the right is but yeah, so that's what's playing now on the screen, Sarah. But there's a video of the actual
I can see your house now.
Close-ups of the house and the barn, and I'm gonna do a circle around. The backside, up right now at the top of the screen where there's a couple of snow patches on the dirt, that's actually the site of the fire pit. And so we'll do a roundabout here. We didn't know at the time when I shot this video that was the site of the fire pit. We found that out later when we saw pictures in the courtroom. But this is Old Mom Fraze's ranch property. This is the property in Kelsey.
It looks like your people can't hear you.
What? Oh, it's playing. Bum. I should be reading. Can't hear. Mute the music. We can't hear you. Sorry. Such a loser. I don't have my headphones on. There you go. I just muted the music, so they should catch up. Music's too loud. Yeah. Sorry,
hey,
guys.
Did you catch what book she was reading at the courthouse?
I didn't. Did you see it?
I saw she was reading, but
She's been reading, but I didn't. That's a great question there. So right there by where that white truck is, up in the north side there, on the top of this video, you're gonna see the white truck up at the top of the ranch there. That's where it's coming around, but that's where the fire pit was up there, and so there's a shot of the Nash of her place. I gotta find the time that KK was there, and I'll get that video up here shortly. What else you got? You got any other thoughts, Sarah?
Not really. Guess I'll see you at the.
I'll see you Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there Friday. What do you think about that? You asked me that. What do you think about the
memorial?
The memorial.
Well, I didn't know if anybody was going to do anything. After I went out there the other night on Monday, I went back on Tuesday, and there wasn't anything else. It didn't look like anybody else had been there. There were no more flowers or candles, and the balloons were coming down, so it was kind of sad. So that's why I talked to you. I didn't know that they had already planned something. Must have been today.
Yeah, they just the it's actually being hosted by the Woodland Park Police Department, but it'll be at Memorial Park, and they will show. Or they're not. I don't know what they'll show, but they're gonna have a candlelight vigil come Friday at 7, and then there's some sort of celebration of life that will be happening on Saturday. I haven't seen the details on that yet. So, but I will see you there Friday.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Sarah. Well, thank you for calling in tonight.
Yeah, man. You guys take care.
All right, we'll
See
talk
you
to you
soon.
later.
Tell Nikki I said hey.
I will.
All right, later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So what you're looking at now is the Omar Fraze's place. I wish I had a pointer. I don't have a pointer. But up at the top of the screen where you see the white truck and a couple of patches of snow, it's going to be directly behind that area in which the fire pit was built. And I will have to look through. I got to look through my file here to find the video of the day. I showed a little. I have all the raw files here, so I just have to look through some of these raw files to find the day in which. Oh, this is a good video I could show too. This is this Woodland Park video. This is gonna go up by. This video here is going to go up to and go up to Kelsey's house. So this is a video being flown up to Kelsey's house, up through Woodland Park. You can kind of see Woodland Park, but this is the video up to Kelsey's house. And we're just taking phone calls. We're remembering Kelsey and kind of talking about the trial. If you'd like to call in and give your thoughts, you can call the number that is on the screen now. That's my number. You can talk to Dad with the Phone live. We've had a full show tonight, full. You'll have to go back and check it out. Lots of phone calls from people all over the country. We've talked about a little bit of everything. And if you want to get in real quick, call the number on the screen. What you're looking at is a video of Woodland Park. I'm actually going to be flying up to Kelsey's house right now. So if you would like to, oh shoot, I hope this one doesn't have audio playing over y'all. No audio. Good. So if you want to call in, you can call in. We'll finish this show up here pretty quick and send y'all to the house. If got any more questions, if something's been laying on your mind, somebody from South Carolina just sent me a text message and said thank you. So, Stephen, I got your message. Thanks for texting me those kind words. And you're going to see I'm going to fly directly over the library. And the library is kind of almost center screen, the big two building. The building to the left is the cultural center. Okay, we've got a call. That's a no caller ID call, so who knows what this one's going to be like. You're live with Dad with the Phone. You're live with Dad with the Phone. Oh, the no caller ID hung up. Got our first hang up today. As you see right now, we're flying over to Kelsey's apartments. And Kelsey's apartment is kind of like center screen right now. And you can see on the walls, actually, you can see the cameras. If you know where you're looking, center screen on the condo, you can see the cameras next to Kelsey's. And so now it looks like I'm going to fly back to So probably gonna fly back towards Safeway now from Kelsey's. You can kind of see the distance, but you can see it's not that far to Safeway. I don't know if this flight's going all the way back to Safeway or if I was going to land. Do I think Omar will sell her property? She could. She very well could sell her property. Right now, at the bottom of the screen is the Sonic video, or the Sonic in which KK went to. So you can kind of see how close that Sonic was there. This one looks like I'm going all the way to Safeway. So you'll see how close Safeway was to Kelsey's house. You'll get an idea just from this little video of how close the Safeway was. Looks like I'm landing. So the Sonic is right there. Oh, I'm coming down. Never mind, I didn't go to Safeway. So sweet. Y'all got a little shot of Woodland. Little idea of the park. All right, I'm going to close this show off unless I get a phone call in the next few minutes. We've been going for a good 2 strong hours of phone calls. Great show tonight. If you didn't listen, you're going to want to replay it. Callers from all over the world, literally Australia, Canada, all over the U.S. calling in tonight. Took me down memory lane. Somebody's texting me now. Another kind words. Lots of text messages coming in just telling me thank you. So if you want to get one more call with Dad, you can call. Thank you, Jamie, for putting my PayPal account up there. As always, no one is obligated to give. You don't have to give a dime. If you feel like you want to give, you can give. Well, by the goodness, Pell City, Alabama. This could be a fun call. Who knows? Hey, you're live with Dadwithaphone.
Hey. Good. How are you?
Who's this?
This is a little Abby.
This is Abby Jr. Abby Jr. is on the phone with Dadwithaphone. So, the only other person in this conversation today, with all these people watching, the other person who's been kicked out of the Teller County Courthouse is on the phone with Dadwithaphone right here. So,
your youngest fan.
My youngest fan. Oh, Mom's in the background. So, okay, Abby Jr., I'm going to let you get to your questions, but first I get to ask some questions. So, okay. Tell us what happened. You got kicked out of the courthouse.
Yes, sir. So I went in for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and we saw Deb. She was sitting in front of us, and she kept on turning around, like trying to figure out, I guess, if we were really Abby. And so our first break, she ran out in her heels. She ran out real fast to the police officer, and I'm not exactly sure what she said, but she said something to the effect of, "I'm not 18." And so a lady police officer came up to me and squatted down beside me and said, "Hey, how old are you?" And I said, "I'm 15. And she said, "Are you related to Patrick Frazee?" And I said, "No, ma'am." And she was like, "Well, you can't be in here. You have to be 18 to be in here." So my mom stayed in there, and I went outside the courtroom, and I was talking to the police officers, and I asked them why you have to be 18 to be in there or in the room. And they said that the judge just made that rule. It has nothing to do with the courthouse or anything. But if she wouldn't have said anything to them, they wouldn't have kicked me out. They would have just let me stay in there.
Man, traveled all the way across the country to come see the Patrick Frazee trial and got snitched on, huh? Man, what you gonna do? So what else? What do you got going on tonight? What'd you call in for?
I just had a quick question. Do you think Patrick Frazee is a sociopath from what you saw of him, like having no emotions, not crying, just having a straight face?
I mean, yeah, I guess if the definition of a sociopath is like not having emotion and straight face during something like this, I would say yes. Like there's something not right. What he did, and what do you think about what you know about the cases, being a 15-year-old in listening and watching this stuff? What do you think about the case? What do you think about him?
Well, personally, I think he has done this before. I think he has killed someone before. And I think that he is a narcissist. So he is just saying, like, I killed her because she was a bad mom. He always has a reason why he killed her. And so I don't ever feel like he's going to feel bad about it.
Well, so you think he said he killed her because she was a bad mom, or is that just kind of that you've come to that in your head?
I just came to that in my head. I just feel like he makes excuses up for why he killed her, so it's not like the blame's not on him, even though he killed her. So I just feel like he puts it back on her.
Oh, just kind of like just trying to paint a picture, the way he tried to paint a picture of her, and the way he kind of talked to tried to tell his friends about how she was abusive and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
You make me feel old when you call me sir.
And I think another thing that's really crazy is about his, like, jailmate or whatever, him writing notes on a napkin. I think that's really crazy. Like, killing Kelsey wasn't enough. He wanted to kill all his witnesses. I think that's really crazy.
Yeah, so what you think that really happened that way, or do you think that do you like that's a crazy thing? Do you think he told that guy that he wanted to kill all those people?
I honestly feel like he did because, like I said, I feel like he just, I need them to be killed because they're going to lie or something. I just feel like he always made an excuse up, but I honestly feel like he wanted all these people killed.
Well, there you go from Abby Jr. telling us what she feels about Patrick Frazee. What else you got to say, girl? Uh-oh.
Well, I was going to talk a little bit about the courtroom.
Oh, talk to me about the courtroom.
I thought the courtroom was really cool. It's not like the one down here. And all the juries, I think they were cool, like how all that happened. I like how they asked questions to the judge. And I just really like to see how that went on because I've never got to see that.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer that they kicked you out after the whole age thing, because it is kind of cool that you got to come down here and kind of see how it was. I'm glad that you did get to go in the courthouse and get to see a little bit of it, and you recognize that history and stuff. But did you have a good trip with your mom? I talked about your trip a little bit after you guys came down and saw me and my wife in town, but did you feel like you had a good trip to Colorado?
Yes, I had a really good time. Me and my mom are talking about when we're coming back next.
Uh-oh. Gonna come back and spend some more time here. Hopefully it won't be over a murder trial.
We actually enjoyed that, or I did. I love that, for real.
Well, then y'all might have to come out and go visit, like, the Watts house, and then go visit the John Benet Ramsey house, and y'all didn't get to do the full tour, though. We should have. It was kind of a crazy. I wish we would have hung out with y'all on the court date because, but that was a crazy morning too. So it was just a crazy morning altogether. But well, I'm glad that you had a good time, Abby. Thanks for calling in tonight.
Thank you for letting me call in.
What's your mom? She wants to ask one question. She got something she wants to say.
Mom, come here.
She's sitting there listening. She probably got one more question. I figured since you got me on the phone, might as well let your mom ask one more question.
Tell him I'm not long-winded.
Oh,
Not
okay.
long-winded.
She got offended. She got offended at me when I called her long-winded. I was kidding.
Oh, well, you are definitely correct. She cannot make a short story.
Oh, outed by her own daughter. So there you go. Well, thank you so much, Abby, for calling in, and it was fun to meet you, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Yes, yes. Well, roll tide.
Oh, LSU. All right, we'll talk later. Hello, you're live with Dad with a phone.
Sweet! I was afraid my battery was going to go dead from watching the live.
Uh-oh. Better plug that thing in.
I did. Okay, so my question
You don't have to have a question. You can just make statements all night if you want.
No, I don't want to make statements.
Who am I talking to?
I want more info. I want more. Oh, this is Carolyn.
Carolyn?
Or Gun Girl. My little handle, I guess, if that's what they call it, is Gun Girl.
So Carolyn, where are you from? Or you don't
Kansas,
have to.
Missouri.
Okay, just Missouri.
Missouri line.
Missouri.
Yeah. Literally, like, I'm right on the line.
Gotcha.
But technically Missouri.
Like your living room's in Missouri and your kitchen's in.
Like my house is in Missouri and my daughter goes to school in Kansas.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, it's like 5 minutes away.
So
you just gotta drive across the river.
So how long you been watching Dad with a phone?
Since this Kelsey Barrett thing happened. So a long time. Go way back. Actually, I was messaging with someone that I kind of came across through just following this case the other night, and was telling her about you had done an interview. I think it was back in like February, March. I remember listening to it on the way home from a long trip I was on for work. And it was a gal who I believe was friends with Chad and knew KK through that.
Oh, okay. So somebody from up in Idaho.
I don't recall where she was from. You're probably correct.
Yeah. So somebody that from that area that knew Chad and knew Chad and knew Crystal through Chad.
Yes, and so they were. And I feel like I don't recall, and I need to go back and try to find the video or whatever somewhere on one of your pages. But it was the gal was saying, she kind of said, I wonder if they they arrested the wrong person. I mean, as if she saw it possible that at that time that KK may have actually done the murder. So it was just a really interesting interview. It was early on, like I said, I think it was February or March.
Yeah, I remember the interview with her and how she said that she very much felt like this could be something KK had done or was more a part of it than just the tampering or whatever. But I think we all kind of found out like KK was way more involved than just messing with evidence. Everybody needs to understand that. It wasn't she just hid some evidence. If she did a lot wrong and a lot of things she was involved in, literally down to was there when the body was burned. And so, people need to understand that her deal doesn't reflect her actual crime. And so, but I think that's been made clear now, and people understand that, even to the point where people are asking, why isn't she facing, more penalty? But it's just really the way the judicial system works. And so, it sucks.
Well, I have a lot of whys on like, I get that she was more involved, and I followed it pretty closely. But I very much have a lot of whys. Why did it, how did she go from just being like this gal who, had this love interest in him, from a distance to what it evolved to? Like, why? How do you get, like, because we all do there's a why behind everything we do. Why? How did she get to that point? So I'll be curious to see what comes out. But my question my actual question, my reason for calling in. Do you think that PF, or do you think that Patrick has always been off? Do you think that his mom has always known that something was not right with him and potentially sort of kept him around to sort of keep her finger on him, to kind of keep him from going off the deep end?
You mean you're
Maybe
like
that's why.
Bates Motel, like come sleep with me, honey?
Well, no, no, that's not. No, I'm just wondering, like someone brought this up to me, and it's.
No,
I like
like
to get into the psychology part of it, but like, do you think his mom has always known he was different?
okay,
And
yeah,
so
maybe.
she kept him around and think that if she kept him close, she could keep her finger on him, maybe control a little bit of that differentness that she saw in him as a child. And that is, maybe that's why there's such a strain. It seems like there's been indications that there's a very strained relationship between them. They don't get along well. Maybe she's actually scared of him, because she knows he's so different and volatile. I don't know. I'm just
No,
saying.
I think that their relationship is one that will be studied by people in ages to come, or at least this type of thing. I think I said it from the, even from kicking off, start and follow this. If you look at his situation, it's not necessarily the normal situation. It's not that it's abnormal for, a grown man to live at home with his mom. It's just not the normal. So if you look at that and then start looking at other things, again, talking with people who have been at their house for Patrick, for all intensive purposes, was a normal kid in a sense. Like, he didn't have awkward communication skills. He wasn't awkward around women. He obviously had 3 girls fooled, then those 3 girls is just the ones we know. Like, people need to realize he texted a girl on the 21st that you don't hear much about, but she testifies in court. He was trying to build a relationship with her. He texted KK and he texted Kelsey, and so he was a little player, and he was none of these girls meant anything to him in a sense where we can tell he was willing to throw, KK, bring her into this situation. He's willing to kill Kelsey, and this other girl, he's just trying to build this, she's a young little cowgirl here in town. So he had this situation going. He wasn't awkward. He's not an awkward communicator. He's not awkward sense in the word of he's off, he's slow, there's something wrong with him. Does mom know that something's wrong with him? I don't think so. I think the way that she has responded, she knows something happened, and she knew something happened. I don't think she was actively involved in a sense of, I don't think she helped clean up, and I don't think but she knew something. And she knew something was going on out at that fire. She knew there was something going on with KK being in town. I think her and KK got along, and it could have been more that maybe her mom, she helped plan it, and so, or his mom helped plan some of this and different in there, but I don't know. It's weird because we're not the sum of our children, and we're not the sum of our parents, and I've always lived by this. I'm not the sum of my mom and dad, nor are you the sum of your mom and dad, and so, it's weird with parents, and so who knows?
I agree. I mean, I absolutely agree that, because there's a point where, regardless of what your childhood was, right? Like, whatever your parents taught you, whether it was how to be good or how not to be good, but there's a point where you grow up, you move on, and you do your own path in life. So, but he never did that.
Yeah, so he kind of is the sum of his mom because he never left.
Maybe. I mean, maybe he is, or maybe this is. I guess I don't know. I wish I would love to know more about the psychology behind him and really KK too.
Yeah, I mean, again, people have asked even tonight, do you think KK will write a book? And we would all say, oh, that's a sick book and she should never be able to do that. But all of us would read it, you know, and we would all want to know what she would write in that book. And we would all want to know what she would tell in that book, you know. And so, no, this is not normal. This whole situation, and I talked to some reporters about this. I made jokes to some reporters like, "Hey, your news stations are going to have to pay for y'all's counseling because you've had to sit through and hear this abnormal stuff. It's not normal what went down, and it's not normal for us to hear and be a part of that." And so the emotional toll that has happened on my life is just a little bit of an emotional toll that's happened on a lot of people's lives who have followed this. A lot of you that are listening feel the same way. This whole year has been an emotional, taxing year if you've been following this case and you're trying to figure out what's going on and the ups and downs. And so, yeah, it's fascinating stuff. And to be honest, there were people in the audience at the courthouse. There was a guy there that I talked to actually pretty extensively, and he was there simply to study the human behavior and to study like what you're talking about. Like, why did they do this? What's the why behind it all? And so I understand your thoughts.
There's a huge leap, and this case does feel different because unfortunately, you know, people intimately involved kill each other all the time, and that's fortunate. But I think just the circumstances around, like the details in this one feels so different, and so as a mom of a 9-year-old, it scares the crap out of me. I need to figure out how to help my daughter identify the behavior, the way people like Patrick Frazee get their claws into you, and you know, whether you end up like Kelsey, deceased by him, or Crystal, and you're sucked into this entire plot that ruins your life, right? Identifying that behavior and keeping her vigilant about, you know, listening to whatever it is that happens inside you when you're around those people, that makes you stop and just kind of, even for just a second, take pause.
No, I have a feeling that the reason and your intrigue is you're not alone. I have a feeling that a lot of people feel that with wanting to know that with their children, and how things like this, how not, you don't want to raise a KK and you don't want to raise a Patrick, and not that his mother and father couldn't have stopped this or did stop this or did something, but how did he get to where he was at and how she get there too? We could talk about that for days and days. I'm sure there's college courses surrounded around it,
Psychology, but I mean, I feel like their narcissism plays a huge, and maybe potentially even sociopath, I don't know, but plays a huge role in it. But I don't think I'm raising one for sure either.
No, yeah,
but
no.
I do not want her to, like, I want to ensure that she never somehow falls into the circle of those sorts of people and finds herself, the victim, or as far as Kelsey, or even Crystal. I mean, where you're
hard
into the point that you believe what they're saying, and you do things you would never under normal circumstances do, because they've got so much control of your thoughts and your emotions and your life. And jeez.
Yeah, it's a crazy world. Well, thank you for calling.
Thank you for taking the call.
I can't. I didn't answer your question because I've said it before that I don't really think that we can ever know the minds of these people unless you're willing to be that, unless you're that person, because we're not supposed to be. So, I know that we all want to figure it out, and we definitely want to protect our kids it's funny because you know what's crazy that you just said this, because a lot of this is around protecting your child, is Facebook just allowed me to click on like something to rate my page so people could actively engage with each other about raising children. Like that was the option it gave me. And so it's funny because I think a lot of parents want to know about this case and are looking at this case because of the same reasons you are. So it's interesting that it's opened up that parenting in you, that you're going, I want to protect my child from people like this or being caught up in this or any of that. So
for sure,
I love it.
I thought it was all about, like, I thought if I get succeeding as a parent would be keeping my child off drugs. Like, screw college. I just need to keep her off drugs.
If I could just keep them off drugs. If I could just,
right?
Hey, but like, remember, your kids will never be the sum of you. They will never be the sum of you. And this is going to be Dad with a Phone going parenting counseling. But like with my own children, I wish them to be far greater than me, right? And that doesn't mean me plus my wife equals a greater child. It very seldom probably has little to do with anything more than just loving, caring, nurturing those kids and allowing them to grow into whoever they're supposed to be instead of forcing that. But don't be encouraged as a parent. Your kids are going to screw up and they're going to do things to make you disappointed. That's their job sometimes, is to disappoint the parents. And so it's okay. The fact that you're even asking that question means you're going to be just fine. So you'll be good.
Well, thank you.
You're going to be good. Your daughter's going to be good. Thanks for calling in tonight. Thanks for watching.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to jump back on.
All right, We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Freaking good calls tonight, folks. We're not done. If y'all can keep going, then I'll go till 10. I'm down for finishing at 10, so I got a time for, what a good call. I'm going to have to start charging for this parenting counseling. What are y'all talking about in chat? People are saying, people wanted to hear about the Georgia. That's what somebody texted me. This week, I watched old Ma and an ex-girlfriend's mother almost get into it in my mind. I mean, it got heated enough where a sheriff's officer had to step in. And so people were asking about that. I'll tell this story until someone phone calls in. If somebody phone calls in, that means they're bored of the story or I've told it too much already. Nevertheless, I during the trial, they wouldn't let me in. I'm sitting out in the hallway. I'm sitting next to Oma Fraze. And across, somebody comes up the stairs and sits down and is like, "Hey, Dad with a phone." And I'm like, "Hey, who are you?" And she says, "I'm Georgia." And about that time, after she called me Dad with the phone, I think that pissed off old Ma, because old Ma got up and goes to the elevator and leaves. And this lady tells me, "I'm Georgia. I'm a mother of one of Patrick's ex-girlfriends." And I heard Crystal's testimony. It was the day Crystal Lee testified. And she said she heard Crystal's testimony or saw some of it, and then she wanted to come back and she wanted to hear this. She had to get down here and hear this because some of the same things Crystal was testifying about, Patrick had said to her daughter as well. And so quickly she tells me who she is, and she comes over and sits next to me and she's telling me the story, and I'm like, "Did you know that was old Ma? That was Sheila Frazee. That was right here." And she goes, "Oh, I didn't even recognize her." And so a few minutes go by and Sheila comes back up and sits down. So now I'm sitting here. There's a sheriff's officer here. The Georgia's sitting next to me, and then a chair, and then Sheila. And they start talking to each other, and Sheila's like, Georgia's like, "Hey, Sheila, I'm Georgia." And she's like, "Oh." And Sheila asks, "Well, how's your daughter?" And they start having a little conversation. But then all of a sudden, Sheila says something to the effect that, well, you can't trust anything these kids will say, because they were having a conversation about something that Patrick had said to her. I didn't really hear the whole conversation until it got heated. And then once it got heated, Georgia yells, well, your son's on trial for murder, so just shut up. And then Sheila's yelling back something. All of a sudden, I'm staring at the sheriff's officer like, you're going to let these moms go at this? Somebody's about to die here, and they're going to blame my ass just because I'm sitting here. And so he comes over and he separates him, and it's the most ridiculous officer, first of all, but that's a whole nother story. He separates them, and then he comes over and tells me I have to move, and I'm like, I didn't even do nothing. I was sitting here first. I was here first in this chair, minding my own damn business. But nevertheless, Omar and Georgia almost got into it. It was a great moment because no one else saw it except Dadwithaphone and the sheriff's officer, and Georgia has already talked to people about it. She's texted it. I've seen the messages. She doesn't deny it. She tells her version of it. Nevertheless, you never knew what was going to happen at trial, so. Well, it's been a great live show tonight. We've been going non-stop phone calls. I mean, back to back to back to back since we started. If you missed it, you should rewind this bad boy and take another look. We'll finish off with leaving up the bench. This is a bench that has been placed out at the Barrett Park, the park that's right behind where Kelsey Barrett lived. It's a bench that was built in her memory. There's a scripture reference on it from Matthew 22. Love thy neighbor. And if we can take anything from, if we can look at a silver lining, if we can take anything from this situation, take the message that's right there, and that is love your neighbor. Love your neighbor enough to see if something's going wrong. Love your neighbor enough to be able to go over and encourage them. Love your neighbor enough to, if you see something, don't necessarily assume the worst. Go over and talk to your neighbor. This world will be much safer, not because of law enforcement, not because of first responders, not because of anything. If you will learn to love your neighbor, this world will be a safer place. And so take that message. Take that as the silver lining. Take that to the next level in your own life, whether that means you say hello to somebody that you've never talked to that lives around you in the apartment building, whether that means you take over some holiday cookies, whether that means you simply wave. Acknowledge your neighbors, and the world will be a safer place. We'll have less murders. We'll have less issues with people. And it will simply be a safer place if you simply do nothing in life to protect or to stand up or to do anything. If you simply just love your neighbor, the world will be a safer place. So, it's been fun. It's been an excellent live. This is one of my best lives. I mean, let's be honest. This has been one of my best lives. So if you want to hit share or you want to send this out to people to encourage them, please do. Thanks for joining. And as always, we'll see you guys, or we won't. Father, bless the Barrett family tonight. Thank you for the justice we have seen. I pray that we continue to see justice come forth in this case. and give wisdom to the judge in sentencing Crystal Lee Kenny, and help me to remember to love my neighbors.